So, M, would you ever look at your following list and say, I don't like that number. I need to unfollow 2 people?
Definitely never. I have never done that.
Well, that's what Lala said she did with Ariana and Katie. That's her reason.
Yeah, that seems like a very give them Lala type of thing to do.
Very give them Lala. Well, let's give them us this week. Are you ready to get down to reality?
Yes, let's get down to reality.
Welcome to Down to Reality. I am one of your hosts. My name is Ro, also known on social media as Reality Ops.
Hello, my name is M, also known on social media as Connection Queen X.
And M is back.
I'm back.
Yay! So M is joining us for the recap this week, and we're going to do some news in the beginning of the episode because a huge podcast just dropped a few hours ago. And it was Kyle Chan on Kristen Doty and Luke's podcast, and it was quite an episode of information. So we're going to cover that first, and then we're going to do a recap. And then at the end, I always add Vanderpump news as well. And I'll either do that on my own, or if Em is available to record, we'll do that together, or my husband will record with me since we all know he likes to do that now. He's very into it.
I
He asked
think that everybody loves hubs.
me, he asked me like 10 times this week, do you need me to record this week? Do you need me to record this week? So thank you guys for the positive feedback for him too, because he really enjoys it, and he was excited to hear your little comments, and thank you. It was very sweet. Just a quick interruption from present day Row. So this is Monday that I'm adding this now. My husband does come on for the end, and we talk about Joe and what went on with her live that I did witness. I was there for that entire live. So I will give you my feedback about that and what happened. There's some things that people haven't been talking about that I really wanted to address because I feel like it's important to get a better picture of how it really went when you were watching it. And throughout this recap that I do with M, you will hear lots of tea and talk of news throughout the week. So a lot of the news is actually incorporated in the actual recap itself, like in every section, basically. So the recap is a little bit longer because we cover most of the news, I would say, in there. Okay, now back with M. Okay, so first things first, let's talk a little bit about the podcast that we heard before. And it was, like we said, Kyle Chan, who is Tom Sandoval's best friend, but was also good friends with Ariana. He's good friends with Scheana. He's good friends with Kristen. He's in the whole group, and he's been part of this group for years. We will add parts of what we learned in throughout a recap because some of it matches up with what we're going to be talking about, like Joe, for instance, Sandoval, and the affair and all that.
There's so much.
There's so much.
My
Okay.
ADHD brain right now is like, oh my God, cannot compute. Where do we start?
So one thing he said that was really important is that Rachel should not be suing Ariana, and basically that karma's going to bite her. Nobody's going to be trusting her because it was her and Sandoval who did this terrible thing. The two of them. He said it's like having two robbers rob a bank and the one robber just putting it all on the other. And that's not fair because that's not how it worked. And he was just like, you should be having peace. It's been like over a year now. This could have been your time to like move on and do your thing. And instead, you're suing Ariana. And I thought it was really good that he spoke up the way that he said it. It's hard to convey unless you listen to it because he has a certain way of speaking, I think, that's very gentle but firm, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. A light approach.
Yeah.
I thought that the impression he gave me was very, very supportive, understanding, and I feel like he always tries to have like a positive outlook. I also really appreciated a lot of his insight. I felt like he was very fair,
Yeah.
like sympathetic and empathetic. I also found it really interesting. Just this doesn't necessarily have to do with Kyle Chan. I just found it interesting because I had no idea that like Luke and Tom hung out and like spent time together.
Yeah. Okay, we should talk about that. Yeah.
So that was interesting.
Right. So Luke was saying that Kyle Chan is his best friend in LA, and then Kristen got like super emotional. Kristen got very emotional several times throughout this podcast. Okay. She was very emotional during it. I think that maybe it seemed to me that a lot of it was like a release for her. And I know she's going to get a little bit of pushback. I already saw a teeny bit of it. I wish she wouldn't, because what I understood that she was trying to convey and what we've talked about before, we've gone again hard at Tom the past few weeks because he's acting like an ass on the show. But before that, we did talk about how at some point the hate part of it is too much. And there's a difference between calling somebody out for their immature, ridiculous behavior and doing these terrible things. But there's another level to it that some people I think take too far. We talked about like yelling in people's faces, the DMing of hate messages. Like nobody should be DMing somebody hate messages ever unless you're
Ever.
like the worst person in the world. Yeah. So and they're not even living beings that I could think of. So it's like some levels are just so extreme. It is interesting with Luke and Kristen. Kristen really was trying to explain how at this point it's not like she likes to see it as teams. She doesn't like the team thing anymore, the team Ariana, team Sandoval. She will always support Ariana. She always, she knows what he did was horrible. She thought it was disgusting. By the way, I'm speaking for her, like summarizing what she said, but I really want to express it's important to listen to her say it because I don't think anybody can really convey it the same way as listening to a person when they're talking about something so specific. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't want to mix up any of her words unless I'm sitting here reading a
Right.
transcript,
Yes.
which we don't have the Vanderpump Recap transcript yet. Right now, by the way, I talked to Lindsay today. Before the one who does Vanderpump Recaps, her name is Lindsay, and she's amazing. But so I can't read the transcript. So I want to say, please listen to her before, like, don't just listen to people saying things. And also, if you listen to little clips only, I also think it's going to not give a full picture. And I know
Agreed.
that
Yeah.
from even giving our own podcast. Like, I posted something last week and I posted like the Plant Daddy Schwartz thing. And some people were like, oh my God, Schwartz is so horrible. How could you not see that? And I'm like, if you listened to the rest, you would hear us call out when he was horrible too. It's just that, people are multidimensional and that we're not.
Exactly.
And I honestly don't think Schwartz is a terrible person. I think he was a really bad partner to Katie. I don't like some of the things he's done with Joe, but there's a big other side to that. And they talked about that on the Kristen and Kyle and Luke podcast. And we talked about it last week, and we're going to talk about it tonight. There's just like two sides to every story or more. And, I just feel like listen to her words, but I'm just trying to express that she seems like she's saying Sandoval is an asshole, but she's literally said he's not the biggest asshole she knows. And she doesn't think he's a terrible person. She thinks James is a terrible person.
Yes,
She said
I was
somebody
gonna
else.
say that was made very, very clear. I think that that's been super consistent on her part, and,
Yeah.
like, again, I respect Kristen for saying, "I could have maintained my friendship and support for Ariana without berating Tom as much," and again, not
Yeah.
verbatim, what she said, but that was the message I got, and I was like, "Yes, see, like, that's respectable."
Yes, because she says looking back now. She's like, "Looking back now, I see it like I shouldn't have went quite maybe as hard on him." Exactly what you just said is what she was trying to convey. So, it was a good listen. Kyle Chan is just a good person to listen to,
Yes.
and
His perspective on so many different things, I was like, "Wow, I want him as a friend," and, like, Tom
yeah.
Sandoval, you are a lucky guy to have a Kyle Chan in your corner, for real.
He's so lucky because 'cause he'll call him out on his BS, but he won't leave him, and Kyle expressed that he had a couple of friends in his life that he lost to terrible things, and he did not want basically Tom to be another one of those, and he just doesn't believe in, like, giving up, it seems like, on a person, but that doesn't mean he condones what he did. A lot of people said, "Well, Kyle knew about the affair," and that's true. He did express on the podcast also how much he had tried to get him to tell Ariana,
Yes.
but he actually defended Schwartz more than he defended himself. He said Schwartz tried the most,
Mhm.
and him and Kristen were going hard for Schwartz. Kristen was like, really like, Schwartz is not a bad person. Schwartz is a good person. Like, I'm sick of, like, seeing all of the shit towards Schwartz and saying and they talked about the Joe thing and how there's lies that Joe is saying, and Kyle also said, "Schwartz won't say this, but part of the reason why" I think he actually even said the reason, right, that they're not together and that it didn't work out is because there were too many random lies from her.
And that's the other thing too, like, just, how he defended Tom Schwartz. I was like, "You are such a solid person." I feel like he really understands people, and I also think, like, his own personal life experiences have influenced his nature in a way, or
Mhm.
rather his nurture,
Yeah,
which I think is very beautiful, and that's, like, something else that, I hope people can understand because I feel like they're like, "Oh, he just, like, blindly supports Sandoval," and
right.
definitely not.
And I don't know if you're comfortable with me saying this, let me know if you're not, but Kyle, I mean, you also weren't sure how you felt about Kyle. You were like, "I don't really know him yet," and I'm like, "Oh, well," because I saw him on Sandoval's podcast, and that's where I was like, "I love this guy," but you weren't really sure, so even hearing you say that shows oh, well, to me, I know the audience doesn't know how that's how you felt before, but shows how much he conveyed in this podcast, I think, like, things the right way.
And I mean, the other thing to think about, I feel like, is perspective in all of it too. Like he kept bringing that up, like perspective, or I mean, again, not verbatim. I don't know if he said the word perspective.
Wait, hold on. We need to talk about something. Can we just share with them how you're a freak? Because you listen to this shit on what is it, 1.7, and you are able to quote some shit, and I'm not. You're incredible. I don't know how did you do that? How did you listen to it so quick, such a high speed, and now you're quoting. You're quoting more than I'm quoting because I didn't write it down, and you didn't write it down, I don't think. So how are
No,
you
this
doing
I did
that?
not write down. This is off the top. See, this is an advantage of ADHD because
You're
it's
amazing.
fresh. I just listen to it. Also, I'm able to listen at that speed because of my ADHD. So I'm able to like hyper focus. I'm like, kind of like anticipating their next words. It's just easier for me. It like kind of, I enjoy
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Okay. I know I have that too, but it doesn't work for me that way. It's so funny.
No, but
Okay,
that's the
so
other thing. It'll present different in everyone. You know what I mean?
right.
It's not like
Yeah.
a one size fits all. But yeah, I really enjoyed this listen. I'm so glad that you were like, that you told me to listen to it.
Yeah, I was like, "Go listen before we go on," because it changes so much. I
No,
feel
it
like it
really
changes
does.
the
Whoa.
perception of everything, and if we don't have the information, we won't be able to I feel like we're giving them more cl what's it we're doing a recap, but with extra baggage, but with
Literally.
good baggage, you know? Okay. So, anyway, we'll talk about more as we go through the episode, right? We'll bring up little things. I'm trying to think, is there anything that's not really pertaining to anything on the episode that was
Um,
important?
I mean, we'll probably touch on, are we gonna chat about Joe at all? That
Oh,
last
we're
part
definitely
too.
gonna yeah, we're definitely gonna chat about Joe. Oh, because wait, was Joe not really in this one?
Yeah, that's why I'm like last
No, you're
episode.
right, Joe wasn't in this
Yeah, because
episode.
the last episode she said bye.
Alright, let's tell him about Joe. What did you wanna say about what he said about Joe?
Well, I just thought that he again, even when, do you wanna call it, like, calling out in quotes or whatever, I just thought he was still really kind, and he even said, like, "Joe, I don't hate you, like, I wish you
Mhm.
well, but it's just not fair, it's not cool for you to, purport something that's not the truth, and you're making Schwartz look a certain type of way when in the reality that was you and Schwartz, you may have perceived certain behaviors from him in a certain type of way, like him saying,
Yeah.
like, "I love you," and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Kristen also, like, what's the word? Co-signed that. She said, she's like, "I love you is different when you're like, 'I love you,' versus like, 'I love you.'"
Literally.
Or, they're different. They're different versions of "I love you," and that's not to say that she wasn't confused, and I think they said that. It's just that she made it seem to people like it was different, and he was just totally misleading her, and that wasn't the case, and they knew that in real time is basically what they were saying, that that wasn't the case. So, like, what she's portraying to the camera and to other people who didn't really know the situation was different from like the reality of what they were experiencing. And yes, that's I'm glad that you said that because that's something else I wanted to bring up. He was like, Joe's a nice girl. He wasn't saying bad thing. He was just saying like you shouldn't be lying about these things because this is hurting Sure. And when you think about like here's the truth, like if she's saying she loves him so much, right? Then why
Right.
would you do that? Why would you like change the story a little bit, and they talked about Kristen alluded a lot to her lying in general again. So, yeah. And I think I was glad that they were saying that well, Kyle was saying that she's a nice girl and she just has very high energy, and it's a very different type of energy, and some people and Kristen was saying she liked that energy. Her energy from Joe never bothered her, even though it bothers a lot of people. It was something that she understood because she has energy too. But not everybody can take that, but that never was what upset her about Joe. She said what upset her about Joe was how she left their friendship, which is what we talked about in the last podcast, and she confirmed it again, that basically she just stopped talking to Kristen when she moved in with Schwartz. Kristen did not know that she moved into with Schwartz. She just moved in with freaking Schwartz and did not let Kristen know and just stopped responding to texts and stopped talking to Kristen.
Literally. So, okay.
Is that not enough to
Wha
be like, okay, I don't trust this person? Do you know what I mean? Like,
But, like, jumping into Kristen's shoes, I literally felt her confusion. Like,
yeah,
why didn't she ask me? Like, if I was Kristen, I would have been like, "Wait, what the hell? Why didn't my friend ask me and asked, like, one of our mutuals?" Okay. And then just, like, the cutoff like that,
right.
that's sketchy.
Yeah. It's very hurtful. Like, I would be extremely hurt, and I would wonder what my friend's motives actually were the whole time of being friends with me. Okay. All right. So, anyway, we'll talk about some things as they come up, though, while we're going through the recap. Are you ready to do it?
Let's do it. This was a really good episode, so I'm excited to recap.
So we start out the episode actually at Kyle Chan's store, and Scheana is doing her music video for Apples. Is that what it is? Or is it the Good as Gold emo? I don't remember at this point. They're so similar. Which
Uh,
one is it? Which one was it? It
no,
was Apples. It was Apples.
I think it was for apples. Yeah, because the Good as
Yeah.
Gold emo was over the summer.
Yeah, it was for Apples. And Lala is there and Ariana is there. And they start off with saying that Rachel did this podcast. It's so interesting to see. By the way, did you enjoy Rachel's reposting on Instagram of every scene that involved her? She reposted that night immediately following the episode. Immediately. Okay, we know how long videos take to make of every scene involving her, and she would put claim and show the scene from the show, and then would show a response with her on her podcast or on Bethany's podcast. I did not understand the point. It didn't make sense to me. Did you see it?
Um,
Oh, you don't know this? Yo,
no.
Beth, go open up Rachel's freaking Instagram right now. Go look at what she did.
Hold
She
on.
reposted scenes.
Okay, wait, hold on. Okay, wait, hold on. Wait, this one?
She was
2 days ago?
Yeah.
no accountability. She says that she
I know that she didn't just clip Allie. What?
She clipped all them. So she took every scene that involved her and posted it. And then people are like, how did she do this so quickly? Did she get the episodes in advance? No, she did not. You guys want to know what she did? There's only one way she could have done it. Joe. Because Joe gets the episodes in advance. So she watched them with Joe. She took the scenes and she made her clips so that she could post them right after the episode was on. For what purpose? I have no fucking idea. I have no fucking idea,
But
except for to promote
again,
her
like,
podcast.
is that healthy for her? I'm not getting this.
It's not healthy for her.
I
And
mean,
also, it doesn't make sense. Like, we're all like, we can't figure out what she was trying to prove because it wasn't proving anything.
but okay, so like even on like the lives that I do when we listen to Rachel Goes Rogue, because I cannot
Yeah.
listen by myself. And I appreciate the support. Like, I still don't understand. We listened to it last night all together. And
Yeah.
there in last night's episode, she was having, I guess the producer was reading nasty comments that people leave on her Instagram and different social medias. And that was like a form of torture as a bystander. I don't understand how that could be healthy for her mental health.
I have no idea. That podcast is literally responding to quote unquote mean comments, right? What's it called? Why you gotta be so mean? Some of the comments weren't even mean. They were asking questions, legitimate questions in my opinion, but
I
to
mean, and
say
this is another thing I wanna say. Some of the comments were really, really mean, and I
yes.
definitely do not condone them. Like, some people are going out of their way to just be downright, like, nasty and mean. Definitely don't condone any of that behavior. Like, if you're going out of your way to, like, DM somebody nasty things about themselves, like,
Yeah.
don't support it. Definitely not.
Yeah, one of the, cast members on the show, their family member had let me know that people would message them and say things like, "I hope you're" I can't even say the word, I feel so sad saying it, DOGDIES, and I'm like, I can't say it,
What?
my dog's right
Oh,
there, I
okay,
can't
okay, gotcha.
say it.
I was like, "What are you spelling? You're spelling too quick."
I'm a known speller, like, I spell
Wait,
spell
that's so funny. I usually have to spell
if I don't wanna put it out
WALK.
there, I spell it. What?
I usually have to spell WALK because I
Oh,
cannot
yeah,
say
yeah.
that or they go nutso.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I think he knows D-O D-O double G 'cause we used to say that, but when I say D-O-G, he doesn't seem to know it. Okay, anyway, so, yes, they would get messages saying the D-O-G, "I hope you're D-O-G-D-I-E-S." What is wrong with
I know, that was and, like, the adoption comment, so fucking nasty.
Oh, I didn't see that, I didn't see. Oh, they wrote the dog thing in this podcast? I must have tuned out at that part.
Yeah.
She said the dog thing during this podcast?
Oh, no, no, I said the adoption. Like,
Oh,
there was a very mean adoption comment.
oh, because 'cause I'm like, how many times did people say that about the dogs?
No.
No, that's horrible.
I really do feel like, by the way, I know, like, I feel like it was just strewn throughout, everyone kind of talking about Rachel being on Bethany, and I felt like they were all, like, really genuine about their reactions and their comments. Like, they were like, "What is she doing? Like, that's not
Uh,
true. Like, some of the things that she said are not true."
right, especially, like, the Ariana being her friend thing, which again was talked about on the episode, here we go, the Kyle Chan, Kristen Doty, Luke episode. Kyle Chan was like, she was absolutely her friend.
I mean, yes, but yeah, I feel like even us as viewers, we were like, "How can you say that? You guys were just an acquaintance." Like, "What?"
And Ariana said that it was nice to see Ariana's, like, real reaction to that. She's like she's literally we could see each other's pictures, like, on our feeds, and Kyle was like, maybe they weren't, like, family type close, but they were good friends, and Kristen's like, "Oh, they were good friends. So now you're going to rewrite history and act like you were not good friends? No, ma'am. No. It's not gonna work."
Literally, literally. No,
But
ma'am. I like when you say that.
okay, we need to talk about how important it is to notice when people are trying to gaslight us because she is literally or their team, I don't know what you wanna call it, is trying to make everybody question what we already knew to be true, and it's not just her doing this, like, Sandoval also does this with Ariana. Stop trying to rewrite shit. I wish I had a running CVS receipt of every single thing on display on a wall at all times. I could be like, "Look at this right here on this date, blah, 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 blah." Because that's the way my brain works. Like, in my brain, when people say shit, like, it's like a Rolodex, like, I have, like, a part there, and then I just have to, like, pull it up to prove it, you know? And one of the things actually with OCD therapy was learning to not have to prove everything, but it's really hard when you're being gaslit and you kind of have to. You have no choice but to
Right.
prove it. So I mean, my therapy was different. My therapy is not proving reality TV show shit. It's different kind of shit, more important type shit. But I'm just saying that the fact that you have to, like, show proof, being like, "Look at our Instagram pages, look at this podcast, look at that." Like, it's so ridiculous. It's all right freaking there. It's all recorded. Stop saying shit that's not true. And
Yeah,
just
and
like Lala
it's
with
the most frustrating thing for me is, like, the flashback that they showed. That for me, I was just like,
I know.
at the
Sandoval,
time, Raquel, you're literally crying tears of thankfulness that these are your people and yada, yada, yada. And it's just like, you have so many contradictions and hypocrisies within your discourse on the podcast, on interviews you do. It's just one plus one is not equaling two. And we have the actual math in front of us. It just, yeah.
right. Okay, I don't know how much more Rachel I could take in my brain, but wanna talk about Scheana thinking Katie was lying about being sick?
Wait, hold on. Yeah, we have to. We have to because Bro, hear me out. She looks
Uh,
so good for being
oh, well,
sick.
she was wearing her filter. She was wearing her
I was
It
like,
Girl or
"Damn,
whatever filter.
Katie. I wish I could look that good when I'm sick. Oh my god, I do not look like that."
And she's like, "Oh, I'm on my deathbed." But why would she lie about it? I don't think she would lie about it. Do you think she lied about it? I think that Scheana just thought she was lying because
I
Scheana was
don't
offended.
know. I don't know, honestly. I feel like Katie had a right to maybe not wanna be around Lala right after
Oh,
that.
okay.
I might react in that way. So I can
Uh,
actually, like, kinda sympathize with that because I was like, "Okay, you know what? If I knew I had to see somebody that just recently, like, I felt maybe a little betrayed by,
okay.
I might not go. I
Okay.
might need to sit that one out because
I would
I
just
don't
say,
wanna.
though, you wouldn't say, like, "I'm not comfortable being around so and so today, blah, blah, blah,"
No, I
or "I
wouldn't
don't
say it
feel."
that day. I would have said it maybe. Okay, here's the thing. I would have said, like, "Hey, so sorry, not feeling well." And then the next day I would have been like, "Hey, this is why I wasn't feeling well," because I feel like she knows Sheen is gonna kinda run her mouth a little around the "Good as gold" music video shoot.
Yeah, or apples.
Apples, rather. Was it apples? Yeah, it was apples.
I don't
I
know.
don't remember. But do you get what I'm saying?
They all blend to me. Yeah, maybe, yeah. I mean, she could've been lying, but then she actually was sick around that time of year. I do remember her being sick. I could go find my receipts and we'll find out.
Receipt.
I'll add it back in. Okay. So, James and Allie's house is next, and they're talking also about Rachel's podcast,
Mhm.
and so it's like a back and forth between the shoe and James and Allie's house. James says he's trying to figure out his relationship with Sandoval also. Oh, I wanna bring this up. This is another thing said in the Kyle Chan podcast, that they all say that Rachel did love Tom. Did you hear it? Well, I'm sure you heard it, you just heard it.
Yeah.
They all said that Rachel loved Tom. Like, all of them were like, she loved Tom. Like, that's what was said. Why is she acting like she didn't love Tom or didn't sorry, maybe or didn't think she loved Tom, you know? They said that they thought they were in love. So the fact that she's acting like she's not is crazy, and Kyle Chan just says flat out, like, it's not true.
Right, and
So
also, I again, looking at everything from the Bethany podcast to Rachel Goes Rogue to the lawsuit, I think that maybe that was a little, I wanna say premeditated, but I don't know if that's the right word, but I feel like there was a lot of thought put into her discourse in her interview with Bethany. Do you get what I'm saying?
no, can you explain that?
Like, we have to push this narrative because you're then gonna come out with a podcast. We're gonna continue to push this narrative, and then we're gonna sue both Ariana and Tom,
Right, okay, yes, I agree.
like, in that way. So I just feel like it was a
Mhm.
really thought out interview with the chain of events that have since followed that interview.
Can I ask you something? Did Rachel say it in the last podcast, the one that we look
I
the
was
one that
just about to say, "You just did." My teacher used to say that to me in school.
oh, I forgot it, I say it all the time, I say, "Can I ask you a question?" Um, no, I need to say it in order to ask it. Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Did Rachel say in the podcast with Tom or not with Tom, that would be fun. That would be a good one. I wish she would do that. The podcast that we just listened to on the live, did she say that she had to sue Ariana because I don't know if I got this from her or somebody else, I can't remember, that she had to sue Ariana basically by default because in order to sue Sandoval, she had to sue Ariana, and there was a lot of thought that went into it because she couldn't sue Tom without suing Ariana. She did, right? Or was that somebody else who said that to me?
No, that I think was that when Brittany was answering questions or no?
Oh, maybe.
Is that what you're talking about, though? When we went
I
over,
don't
like, why
yeah,
does.
I don't know if Rachel said it because we were like, "What" maybe that's what it was. We were like, "What does she mean by this?"
And, remember Brittany was like, "Oh, because there was discovery found, so now they have to sue." Or no, maybe not. See, again, this stuff does confuse me, I'm not gonna lie. I definitely get a little confused
Okay.
with this
I'll
stuff.
look it up and I'll just add, like, a little footnote in here.
Okay.
Um,
So James and Allie, scene opens, and Allie's kind of just letting James know, have you heard Rachel's interview with Bethany? She's making all of these claims, all of these false accusations against you. And, I think that Allie seemed pretty annoyed. I actually felt like I don't know. Did you think that Allie was angry when she was talking about it? I was like, she seems pretty pissed right now.
About the accusations?
Yeah, just
Yeah,
about, like,
like, James
the interview, the accusations, like, imagine hearing all of this from your current boyfriend's ex-girlfriend on a very big platform.
yeah, it was like you know what it was? James was upset that he felt like she was making not she was making him out to be a bad dog daddy. And, you could tell that he was upset by this, like, that it actually really hurt him. And I just think it's interesting because she has really made him out to be a terrible dog parent. And it's strange because I don't think we had signs of that on the show. I don't think now we have signs of that. I know there's a lot that we don't see, but the way she has described him is pretty shockingly different to what we've seen of him on the show with Graham or Hippie. So I don't another thing that I'm like, did one thing happen once and now she decided to make that the whole thing? Like he's a bad dog parent. He's the reason why Grandma's aggressive. He's this, he's that, all of those things. Which, by the way, I don't know if you noticed this. I noticed this in the last episode. Freaking Sandoval used that same script with Ariana. I feel like he took that same script from what Rachel was saying about Hippie and used it with Ariana and Maya. He's like, she's never got the dog training. The dog needs training. It's like, you're the dog owner too.
Right. Yes. Oh my gosh, but see, that's what's so, so frustrating, and
You're
that's why for me, it totally hits when Ariana's like, "I see them as my children and you do not," because it
mm.
just felt so singular in their care.
You're so right about that.
I have
Yeah.
a personal experience, so that's why I'm like, I feel that in my bones.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
really
You're
do. I really, really do. I'm like, "Yep, I totally understand what you are saying and where you're coming from."
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, she's just trying to throw everyone and that's another thing they brought up on the podcast, everyone, like, is doing something wrong except for her, and we talked about this in our last podcast also, like, how is it that every single person is wrong except for you, and you say you're taking accountability, but you're not really showing the actions, and then you're, like, slighting everybody, so that's not really taking accountability when you're just, like, showing excuses for every situation and putting it on everyone else.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know.
again, that's kind of been consistent across all episodes from her podcast, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
To be honest with you, I really wish they would stop talking about Rachel because I don't
Oh, good
if
point.
they stop talking about Rachel, what the fuck is Rachel gonna talk about on her podcast
Yep.
anymore? And I'm not trying to be mean, I'm being serious. What is she going to talk about on her podcast?
No,
Because this is
literally,
all she talks about.
that is such a great point. I actually thought about that too when I was watching. I was like, "Oh, why are they still giving her airtime?" Like, she is, in my opinion, feeding off of this. She's literally made her entire podcast around Vanderpump this season.
Feeding off of it. And all the other people who have podcasts also talk about other things in their life. What is she talking about all she's talking about is this.
That's a great point too. Yeah, she never really, like, talks about what she's currently doing.
I wanna hear about you planting, your pretty flowers in your garden. Well, I don't, but I'm saying, like, where's that? What are you doing? Where's your you could talk about your hot yoga, like, what talk about something else. Go
Right.
talk about other things in your life. Are you dating? Are you like, what is going on with you? What's going on with you? Is it just Vanderpump Rules? Is that all that's going on with you is Vanderpump Rules?
Also, it kind of gives off, and I don't even know if she's aware of it, but it's like when I hear her speak about certain things, it's reminiscent of, her from last year, a little, in my opinion, and just I don't see her in a new light. And I wish she would share more about what's going on in her life now, because then maybe the listeners could get a different perspective, gain
Right.
a new understanding about her. And she's just, it's difficult to look at somebody and be like, oh, you're evolving when you're kind of still,
Not evolving?
yes. And I don't want to downplay her therapy program in any way. I do not. I do think that, she completed that therapy program and I'm sure she gained benefit from it in certain ways. But again, I would have had so much more respect if she would have just not talked about Vanderpump and really moved on with her life.
Yeah.
It's
Rachel, you can go talk about making frozen yogurt, you can talk about yoga, you can talk there's so many different things in your life that you
no,
can
I like
talk
really,
about.
really wish that either she would talk about her life or I so badly wish that, she's always like, I'm being vulnerable, I'm being vulnerable. I wish she could be vulnerable and tell us about her program. I am so curious to know, like, okay, when you guys went over, I'm just trying to think of something like how to handle your emotions in this situation, or what if something like this happens to you, like stuff like that. I want to know how the program influenced her and how it
Hmm.
changed her perspective on things like that. I feel like people would be so much more easily be able to rally behind her if that were the case.
Yeah, not everything has to be related to Vanderpump Rules. And I wanna say this, we have a Vanderpump Rules Valley, Bravo, whatever, recap podcast, and we still talk about other things
Right.
and our personal, you know what I mean? And mental health and whatever it is. So, there could be more. There could be more. Just a suggestion. Okay. Okay, so this scene also, Lala has the nerve
I was just about to say the noive.
where you
Yes.
to ask Ariana if her home is available for her sperm donor party. What the fuck?
Okay. I know that Lala, who is pretty much on a she needs to move out, why is she doing this to herself tour, is not backtracking and asking Ariana to host her sperm donor party at her house. Like, what?
I have no sympathy for her, but can I have the party there? No.
No, like literally though. She needs to get over it. Hey, can you host me and my closest friend? Like, what?
No, ma'am. I'm so glad she said no to her. I'm so
No.
glad that her house was messy
Me too. No,
because
seriously though. I'm sorry. That for me was a strike. I was like, that's foul. You're
okay,
gonna not support her and then ask her. Like, that's like, I don't know. Yeah.
what I did like about Lala this episode, and I do take a slight turn back to Um, only because I would say actually what really helped me was watching the after show with Lala, just talking about the baby again. I'm like, "Okay, I love you right now." And it was like a reminder of why I love Lala and I'm just angry. I always say I'm just mad at Lala right now. Like I do like Lala, but I don't like when she's being hypocritical. I don't like when she's contradicting herself. I don't like when she's doing everything for the show. I don't like when she's like talking bad about her friends who are supposed to be her friends. I wanted the Spice Girls the whole season. I don't know why that didn't happen, but
Yeah.
Lala, she brings up the sperm donor party and she says she's looking for little ways where she can look at the new baby and she gets emotional and say like you were brought here out of so much love. It may look different, but love is love.
Yes, and that was so beautiful too.
Yeah.
And I
And
also thought the sperm donor party was like a fun thing. I was like, "Wait, that is so cool." Like that's actually a fun idea for women that do wanna have a baby by themselves.
it is fun for yeah, I agree. It's hard to express the feelings I have towards this because I feel so happy for Lala and what she's doing and, for their family and the child, but I also just know that that child is going to go through some things, but you know what? I guess every person in the world goes through some things, and I do like that she wants to bring so much like an overabundance of love into the child's life.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I think it's cool because I think her goal is to have that child know, like, you are so special. We're gonna do this together. And again, it might look different. Every family has like, oh, there's this one creator that writes beautiful children's books, and I have her song. It's like every family like could look like this, my family looks like that, and it's just like a beautiful book, and I cannot think of the creator's name right now. But
Oh, nice.
I think that's, pretty much what Lala's getting at, which I absolutely support, respect, love. Like I think that's very cool. And I also
Yeah.
just think it's cool that she, wants this and she's like, I don't need to be in a relationship. I know I'm a good mom. I love being a mom. I want to do this. And I'm bringing this baby into the world with those intentions to be like the best mom.
Yeah. Okay, next is just like a quicker scene, but Sandoval comes into Schwartz's apartment and it was kind of like deja vu for me, like when he walked in and what did Schwartz say last year at the finale of the extra episode actually of season 10 when he was like, look who it is, the most reviled man in America or something like that when Sandoval walked in the door. And then he was like, sorry, bro. And he was crying on Schwartz. It reminded me of that, but like this new season, he walks in really upset
Yeah.
about Rachel's podcast. And Sandoval says that he's just shell shocked because Rachel, what did he call her? I don't know, said she was never in love with him and she's acting like she got it the worst out of everyone. And he says maybe one day she would see all the hard work that I've done on myself and would appreciate it. So he says this is his reason for not drinking and all that, and I thought this was so interesting, I needed to bring this up. And okay, just hold on to that thought, like, hold on to that line, we'll hold on to it for when we talk about him and James because this comes up later, but he's saying, like, he's tried everything to change himself for Rachel to show her, I guess, how much he loved her. I don't know. What did she tell him he needed to change? Just the drinking? Like, what
I
that's what I
really
wanna
think
know.
I really think it was just, like, his drinking like, obviously the drinking and then his, like, maybe his outbursts and stuff like that, but it was all related to the drinking.
But she had issues with drinking and whatever else too, which is why she went to rehab, you know?
Yes.
So it's interesting. I guess do you think she I don't think so, but I'm wondering if she, like, told him he should go to a rehab and he didn't want to, and so then he said he'll change at home?
I could see that being an option, like, "Hey, I really need you to work on this, so do you think that you could maybe work on it in, like, a rehab?" And then he maybe told her, "No, I don't wanna go, but I'll work on it," and then it just, like, he never followed through with it in the way that she, like, wanted or needed at that time.
Mhm.
Also, do you think that she had a drinking problem, like, at that time?
I
Or
well, I mean, the
after?
season ended then and then the filming began just a few months later, so yeah.
'Cause I'm just thinking about, like, past seasons and, like, yeah, okay, she would get drunk and stuff, but I don't really like,
N
okay, last season,
no,
that whole
yeah, she said
microwave
she
scene, that was so weird. I had never seen her, like, do anything like that.
oh, you were surprised by that?
I was, yeah.
I I was not.
Oh my god, I was actually surprised. I was like, "Ooh, she's, like, twisted."
Wait, you were surprised that she put the foil in the microwave?
Oh, no, not
What?
that. Oh, well, okay,
Oh.
well, okay, yes, that scene, no, I wasn't surprised that she did that.
Oh, whoa,
No, no, no,
whoa.
not that. Just the way that, like, she kinda, like, took the food on the bed and was, like, eating it. I was like, "Oh, okay, she's, like, really drunk."
Oh, yeah, no,
I
that's
don't
when
really
she's
ever remember her being like that, if that makes sense.
yeah, no, that's she had a she said she had an issue with yeah, drinking too much. So that's definitely what that was. Again, she's blaming Stan okay, so what he's basically saying is like and he says this James later, it's like she's basically blaming Sandoval for this. But then she also blamed James for her behaviors. And it's like she just keeps blaming someone rather than her own like you make the choice to do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Somebody can really F you up, but you make the choice on how you're going to act because of how they F you up. There are some people who somebody is really toxic around them and they just fucking leave. There are some people who somebody's really
Yes.
toxic around them and, you know, they set that person straight. There are some people who then get toxic back. Like everybody is different, but like you that was you and what you did and your response to it. So I just don't think we can only blame the other person
Of course, right.
when there's 2 people involved in both all of these situations.
But also I feel like that's kind of I also feel like she blames a lot even in her podcast, and that's like a consistent behavior without taking actual onus for her own behaviors.
Exactly.
See, we're talking about her again.
They keep saying that she's taking onus, though. That's what they keep saying
I
that she's, like,
know.
accountable, and we're like,
But see, here's the
"You're
thing.
not."
She, again, will say things like, "I acknowledge that," but I don't
Right.
feel like okay, acknowledging something and actually understanding it, I feel like are 2 separate categories. You can say, "Oh, okay, I acknowledge that. I see it." Understanding it in its entirety and really feeling it is like a separate conversation. And the way that
Right.
she gives her response makes, again, me personally feel like, yeah, okay, I can also acknowledge that the moon is out right now, but it's like there's no
Mhm.
depth to it. There's no
Right.
depth to the acknowledgement.
Yeah, there's no depth to it. That's true. So anyway, so this is Schwartz was good here because Sandoval expresses that he wasn't ready to give up until he heard it from her own lips. And then he's like, to go through all that and not even give it a shot? Like, what was it all for? So if I have to separate myself from like not liking Sandoval because of what he did, I feel for him in that you did do all this, and then she doesn't even want you, she just leaves you, but that's what you get when you cheat on your girl. But, like, it was all for nothing. His whole friend group is, like, effed up. He really screwed people over. That's another thing that they talked about on the podcast, Kyle Chan, was, like, Tom and Rachel hurt all of us. I understood it more, and I think he didn't say anything about Scheana, but it helped, I think, me and I think a lot of people to understand the Scheana even more because I get it. Their whole like family was disbanded because of what Rachel and Tom did. You know what I mean? Like their whole friend group has now been disbanded. So this life that they knew together and they got to do all these things together and experience everything together and have fun and not have this weird tension and, get to do whatever they wanted as a group. Now they can't because of Rachel and Tom and handling it the way that they handled it.
I felt like that was such a great perspective because it was so heartfelt. He was not being nasty when he said that. He was being so pure. That was coming from such a place of hurt, in my opinion. And like, it was fair because like when she's talking about things, she'll say, like, I don't get why they're so upset and stuff. And it's like, no, like, you actually really did affect multiple people, not just Tom, not just Ariana.
Yeah. And Katie, which is never fucking really acknowledged. I mean, it was actually a little slightly, like you said, acknowledged like the moon on the recent podcasts.
You
But
like that one?
I do like that one. I do. I like that one a lot. It was just like a very surface acknowledgement,
Yes.
nothing
Yeah.
deep. When I maybe I'm like an over apologizer, but like when I apologize, I'm like, it depends on, like, I'm trying to think of a situation. Like if I'm thinking about, something that I really need to apologize for, I'm like, I am so sorry. I did not realize that I hurt you in that way. Like I wasn't thinking about it. I shouldn't have done that. Like that was wrong. I totally understand how you feel.
Right, like,
You probably felt
actually get
this,
into
that,
the
blah, blah,
person's
blah.
shoes and apologize. That's the thing. I just haven't again, I feel like you can sense when people really have thought about something through and through when they
Yeah.
apologize, and that's
Yeah.
why it's just not hitting. I feel like I don't even feel sympathy from her when she talks, let alone
Yeah.
empathy. So it's really hard for me to acknowledge any true apology from her or any remorse, like any true deep remorse.
Right. That could be just the way she's built. We will say that. That could just be the way that she's built.
But also, I feel like it's kind of the way that she's being produced too, because it doesn't seem authentic. Her podcast seems overly produced for me.
Yeah, it does. It does seem very produced. Okay. Schwartz's response. What?
Miss Miawana, I guess, saw Rachel's publicist comment.
What?
Miss Miawana, I guess, saw
Yeah.
Rachel's publicist comment. And I just checked Instagram quick and she said, once again, Juliet's opinion brings as much value as fermented dog shit baking in the sun.
I know she hates
I
her.
know. But it just
She hates.
relates to this. I'm sorry.
We'll just share
Yeah,
it.
I was gonna say you should. Yeah.
I'll share. I think she would be fine with me sharing that actually. So Rachel's publicist commented on one of my posts, and it was a post of our podcast.
Yes,
It was
it
a
was.
post of our podcast talking about like the Rachel. I don't know. We're basically like talking about Katie, Rachel, and Schwartz, and the Rachel and Schwartz
Well,
kiss.
yeah, because
Oh,
we feel like Rachel has, maybe a vengeance against Katie for no reason.
yeah, and that's what we were talking about, and then she wrote this whole thing, and she's commented on my post before, never any issues, but she wrote this whole thing, and she was like, this false narrative that Katie and Schwartz hooked up, and she's like, hooked up means a lot of different things. I'm like, okay, well, to me, hooked up means kiss, but she said something like,
Like
I
when you
don't
say
think like,
Rachel and Schwartz, you said Katie and Schwartz.
oh,
Freudian
Rachel and
slip.
Schwartz, sorry, Rachel and Schwartz. But she wrote something like, I just don't think that people who have certain influence should be painting a false narrative, basically saying that I should not be sharing this information that is not based on fact. And then I said back, okay, you don't think I should be sharing this information that's not based on fact. Okay. It's first of all, it's my opinion. That's literally the point of the page. Secondly, you gave your opinion on Rachel's podcast, which is about, I don't know, 10,000 times size of the viewership of our podcast. You gave your opinion on that podcast and said that you believe that Ariana did not really receive the phone from someone and that she knew about the affair before the night. Okay? You made that claim on the podcast. Let me try to be a little nicer. You made that claim on that podcast. Can you feel me pointing my finger or no?
Oh, I feel all of this energy.
Okay. And put that out there so that now many people are saying this to be true. And it wasn't true. And Israel Isaac, who is actually good friends with Rachel, commented on my post, and then made his whole own story and tagged me in it so that I could post it saying that actually, even though he's friends with Rachel, he did give the phone to Ariana. He was the one to give Ariana the phone the night of Sandoval, and she did not know about the affair before. So we're going to talk about somebody painting or giving out information that is not true or opinion. When she gave the opinion, I don't agree with that. And I was very offended by her saying that to me. And I had a lot of messages about this. So I tried to be nice in my response, and I was fine.
You came with facts.
But it's not fair to say that when you literally, and this is the problem I have with Rachel's podcast, do the same thing but worse, way worse. And she did say on that podcast, it was her opinion, and I gave my opinion. And I gave my opinion. My opinion is that Rachel has a competition with all of these women, and it's an internal competition, and has some weird vendetta against people like Katie and Ariana, who have these men who have this platform that she would like. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
And guess what? Like, your opinion is just an observation you've made based on information you've been given throughout watching the show, coupled with Rachel's podcast. I didn't respond to her just yet, but I'm thinking about if I want to or not.
Yeah.
I
She was
just
like that. She was like,
I did
I
just
hope that
look
was
at the
cool.
comments too, and there are people commenting back at her not verbatim, but literally saying very similar things. Like, it's not
Yeah.
clear what you're doing. The podcast that you're now trying to like rebrand her, like you can't change past facts and information that's had. You know what I mean?
They're commenting more now. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I mean, she made my post get way bigger. She made my post get bigger because as soon as she starts commenting all this stuff, it had like 10,000 views and now it's at 18,000.
Like
What?
somebody said back to her, facts are really inconvenient when you're trying to rehabilitate your client's image. I'll be blunt, it's not going well, and coming at people in the comments when they're pointing out actual actions and behaviors on your client's end is not a good look.
Oh, I'm reading right now.
Like, literally, the fact that she went out of her way, though, to comment on that, to try to change another narrative.
Yeah. Anyway.
Every time you say anyway, I think of Lizzo's anyway. I don't know why.
Do I say anyway a lot?
Just when we're
I know-
transitioning.
Oh, okay. I know a lot of people say anywho. I've noticed on Vanderpump Rules a lot of people say anywho.
My mom used to say that a lot. Anywho, any hoodles.
It's like cuter. Anywho. All right. So Schwartz says, and I really, again, I do like that he says this. Don't come at me for liking it. Regardless of what she says on the podcast, she probably just wants her voice to be heard one last time before she goes and pursues her new life, whatever that looks like. But it's over, man. It's been over. And he's trying to tell him. And this is so funny because she did not only say it and then leave. She won't stop talking about this.
No, literally, though.
It was so funny. I'm like, oh my God, Schwartz, if you only knew the future. She won't stop. She won't stop.
I know.
Honestly, I'm praying she's not mentioned on the show next year just so we could see if she still talks about it.
Ooh, that's
What is she going to do in the
yeah.
summer? What is she going to do in the summer? Is she going to talk about their Instagram posts?
The other thing is, like, again, what is she going to talk about? And then before you know it, she's going to be like in a full-blown legal battle. So it's like she really probably is going to be advised, or I would imagine counsel would advise her not to discuss certain things. But yeah, that's why I don't know. I just thought it was a limited thing.
Okay, so Schwartz does say that, and he calls it out, and it seems like everybody's trying to tell Sandoval it's over between Schwartz and freaking James and Lisa, Scheana. They're all like, it's fucking over. It's over.
No, literally.
But I
Like,
guess
it's
it wasn't
done.
until he heard it that it like really sank in for him. All right.
Also, we're seeing
So-
the chain. Sorry, really quick. We're also seeing the chain of events too, because it's like, he has a conversation with Billy Lee at the beginning of the season, and he's like, yeah, like, she hasn't responded to me. We're kind of seeing the progression of their true like separation, if that's what you want to
Yeah.
call it,
Yeah. The next scene is them at TomTom, and it's Schwartz is there at first with Lisa, and Logan is there. And if you don't know, Logan is Ariana's best friend, and he also works at TomTom, and so he was close to Sandoval and Schwartz. And he's still close to Schwartz and, and works with Sandoval and whatever. But Schwartz shows up with his blonde hair. Lisa points out his blonde hair. And Logan says how he thinks it's hot. But Sandoval's late as per usual. And
That's like their
Schwartz,
running theme. I'm sorry. He's late there. He's late to Vile Files podcast interview. Like,
yeah, I know I'm always late too,
well,
but
I
I
mean,
think
yeah.
he's later than my late.
I was gonna
Also,
say I run late too, but then there's like running late, and then there's like you're hella late. Like you're late.
yeah, he was 45 minutes late to that podcast. It's a freaking podcast. You
Right.
can't be
And
45.
it's the Vile Files. It's a pretty big podcast too. Maybe he felt like this is interesting. Do you feel like he felt he could be late because he did Special Forces with him? So it's like, oh, I know him. That's my bro. He won't be
No,
upset.
he forgot he was sleeping. He overslept.
I know, but like, wouldn't that be a priority to you if you like said like, hey, I'm gonna go on your podcast?
I don't know. Schwartz was on Nick Vile's podcast this week. I don't know if you got to
Yes.
see it.
Yes.
Okay. And so he talked about how he wished that he had told Sandoval like to just go home.
Yeah. I honestly, okay, that I feel like is a great picture, like a snapshot of really the difference between Schwartz and Sandoval's friendship. Like you
Yeah.
can tell things have changed. There has definitely been a shift.
Yeah, but he was saying he kind of felt bad for like that he didn't like as his friend tell him that it wasn't a good idea for him to be there, But yeah, there's definitely been a shift. And I know Schwartz is doing the event right now with Jax and Sandoval in Montreal, but it's interesting because Sandoval went there with Victoria, his new girlfriend, and Schwartz is there with Jax and their publicist. And I don't know. I mean, I have to check. I haven't checked Instagram actually tonight, but I don't know how much they're actually hanging out. I don't know what's going on. I just know, like we said on the last podcast, that there seems to be some issues going on with the restaurant.
Mhm.
And that's always a thing. But I think they're hanging out. I just think that take their space a lot more because of everything that
Yes.
happened.
Yep.
And Schwartz takes his space. I wonder how much Schwartz's new girlfriend, who was on the podcast also on the Via Files, I wonder how much she is like, maybe take some space from him, Like I wonder how much she influences him or doesn't. Not
Well,
sure.
so maybe he just is getting stronger with like setting boundaries and stuff. Like, hey, I'm cool to, support you from this distance.
Yeah. Oh God. I'm praying that okay, never mind. We'll talk about that when we get there.
Mm.
So Schwartz says he's a little worried about Tom after the podcast came out. It was actually really funny because Schwartz is like saying it and then Logan finishes his sentences for him.
Mhm.
So Schwartz is like, I think he listened to it in hopes that she would say something. And Logan's like, nice. And he's like, yes. And Logan's like, she didn't. And he's like, no. But Logan's like so unsurprised by this. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I was gonna say he is so unfazed because I feel like
Yeah.
he probably just sees through Rachel
Yeah.
at this point,
Right. Lisa says it was interesting. I wonder if Rachel's going to like this. Lisa says, who cares? As long as she's safe and well, she doesn't love Tom, it's over. So she is pointing out that she hopes that Rachel's safe and well, but like, that's it. Who cares?
Move on.
And
Yep.
so. And so then when Sandoval comes in, Lisa asks if he wants to talk. And he's like, yeah, I guess. She asks Sandoval why he's listening. And he's like, because Lisa, I want to know what's being
Yes.
said about me.
Yep.
Gosh, geez, fine. Gosh, got it. And then he doesn't say that. That's Napoleon, but that he reminds me of. And then she's like, why? To torture yourself? And he's like, yes. And he's whining like a baby, being sarcastic, like, yes, to torture himself. So she said, what can Raquel possibly say that's going to make anyone look at her in a better light? Like she's saying, like, what is Raquel even doing?
Right.
What's gonna, well, she was wrong because they're spitting that. And there are some people who do look at her in a way better light. Which again is fine if you're, we were looking at her in a way better light up until her
Absolutely. I was gonna
lawsuit.
say, I really was like, okay. I was getting pieces of hope. And I was like, I do
Yeah.
think that she's elevated. And then I feel like my hope has regressed.
It was like once that lawsuit and and then the Joe thing was like I was talking to another creator today and she was like, that Joe thing is what did it for me when she found out that she was the one who told Joe to post
Yep.
the worst dressed thing. And I was like, I know.
Because
That
I'm
was
sorry,
just-
like you're fresh out of your program. And
Right, and you're like kind of like in probation right now, and then you do that.
I don't know, like that's kind of again, I've been through a outpatient mental health program and I took it pretty seriously in the sense of like I wanted to get help. I wanted to feel better. I wanted to treat people better. I didn't want to make decisions that I was making. So I'm also when I'm listening from a perspective of like I took it so seriously and I take things very seriously. I don't know how much of the program really like sunk in.
Yeah. So now we have somebody show up, and I'll give you one guess who it is. You know who it is, obviously.
Lala.
There's Lala. She's on another scene. It's very hard to identify scenes without Lala. Lala is quite. I'm surprised she wasn't like skimming the pool in the backyard when Brock and Scheana were there. But Lala,
That is
right?
so funny. Oh my gosh. Yeah, she was probably mad at Ariana because Ariana said no to having her sperm donor party there.
Yeah, true. Maybe that's what really heated her up. But anyway, Lala asked Scheana if she can have her house to host her sperm donor party, and Lisa says, I do not want you like throwing sperm around in my house. So stupid, but and she's like, Lisa, and she gets emotional. She's like, allow me to be excited about this because I'm really freaking excited because Lisa is like questioning, should you really want to do this? And again, I do think as somebody who's close to her, it is an important decision, but I do like the way she just listened to Lala when Lala was like, this is what I want, rather than continuing to question her because people do need to have, like you said, onus in their decisions.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then we're going to talk about the sperm donor party in a little bit. Now it's time for a quick commercial break. For those of you guys who love tumblers like we do, check out Kim's Glitter Factory on Instagram and Etsy for customized, personalized glitter tumblers. From wine, coffee, water, and Stanley tumblers, she has you covered. She went viral last year with her Bravo VPR-inspired designs, which made their way to all the cast members and quite a few other celebs. There's a link to her Etsy page at the top of her bio. For all of our listeners, she's offering a special promo code for 10% off. Just use code REALITY10. Again, on Instagram, you can find her under Kim's Glitter Factory. Also, I've gotten to know her, and she is the absolute sweetest. So we like to promote little sweeties on here. Let me know if you get anything. And now back to the pod.
So next we have Scheana and Brock, and they're helping Ariana with her messy house. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of was a little annoyed with Scheana that she mentioned how their house was never neat. And I was just like, that's not like, I don't know. I don't think that that's nice for a friend to say. I have a whole thing about like messy versus dirty. I don't know what your take is on that. Do you feel messy
I
and
think
dirty are different?
I think yes, but I think that you probably identified, like you're probably like the ADHD part is like understood, correct or no? Because I think Ariana also said she has ADHD, right? Or has she not? But I know Sandoval does. And I feel like it looks like a house with two people who have ADHD. That's what I feel
Well, okay,
like.
here's the other thing though too. They are technically separated and living together. So that reflects just that. And I
Yeah.
did understand. I really did get her logic when she was like, "Well, I know I'm leaving soon. It's in there. I don't really need to do much with it." But
Yes, I do get that too. And it would kind of remind me of like Schwartz with like not wanting to unpack, like because he doesn't want to be there for long. Because I've had that mentality too before, like when I was in a place temporarily because of Hurricane Sandy, and we lost our house to Hurricane Sandy
yes, that's right.
completely. So because of that, we were in an apartment, but I didn't want to stay there. It was a small apartment. I had my dog, and there were cats above us, and I'm allergic to cats, and it was just like I knew I couldn't stay there, and it was really hard to make that apartment like our own for the 6 months that we were there. A lot of people would for comfort. For me, it was like more comfort in knowing that I wasn't gonna be staying
I was
there.
gonna say the same thing. It's like you knew that that was just an in transit space for that time. So why get cozy to just get uncozy to then get cozy somewhere else? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's more like a personality thing, I think. It's like what people, prefer for themselves. But yeah, and like I understood it too, like you did the boxes, but there's a lot of people who are not going to send this and are going to talk about how messy it is, like they did with her broom,
Yep.
And
Yep.
I think Scheana just is one of those people who just sees it as she said it bothers her. And as somebody with OCD, the weird thing about me is because I have OCD and ADHD, They kind of battle each other.
Okay,
So, like,
interesting. Yeah.
it is interesting. Like, for instance, I'm, like, s crazy organized with certain things, and if you look at the kitchen, it's, like, perfect. If you looked at my classroom, because I would, like, organize it all summer and, like, each year it just got more and more and more organized, it was, every single thing had its place. But, like, in my house, I always joke, like, my clothes in my closet are a disaster. That's, like, my messy, how everybody has, like, their junk drawer?
Yeah.
It's like that's like my clothes is like my junk clothing drawer. Like, I'm bad with clothes, but
That's honestly what I struggle with is the most, is the clothes.
the clothes. Or I'm really bad with when I get things shipped to me also. Like, my husband will go through it, but then he'll find the worst places for it, where I'm like, "If you gave it to me, I would find the best place." But my brain doesn't wanna go through it.
Yes.
Like, it's this weird thing, and it's like an executive dysfunction, that's what it's called, right? The
Yep.
ADHD thing, which I never knew about until, being diagnosed. It's weird, it's such a weird thing for people who don't have it, who don't understand it, but, like, I literally can't. Or, like, if we have a big dining room table, the same dining room table that we talked about with the dog putting
Yep.
the dog laying on the table. And when my daughter was a baby and I would come home with all the Target shit, if you have a baby, especially, I get the Target shit, I put it on the dining room table, which is right in the front of the house. So it's not a good place for it. Come in, the dog's got to go out right away. You got to put the baby in the house, got to take her out of the car seat because that's the safe way to do it. You can't leave her in the car seat for long and all that. So the shit would stay on the dining room table until we were ready to go through it. But my brain was like, I can't go through it. I can't go through it right now. But because I have OCD, it would drive me crazy looking at it. So eventually I learned like systems to be like, okay, you have to go through a bag or two, or you know what I mean, to put it away. It's just so weird. My brain is so weird. Like, you'll see my spices are all lined up. A pantry, a fridge. Like, my husband had to show the fridge for like for a work assignment. It was like this funny, stupid thing. They're like, take a picture of your fridge, and they're like, let me guess, this is Hub's fridge.
Yep.
They could tell apparently that he was neat, but because the two of us like things certain ways, it's just there's certain areas that I keep messy and certain areas that are tight. It's so hard to explain it. But I think her brain being jumbled is like, I understood her messiness, and I think Scheana understands it too, but it bothers Scheana too, and so that's why she wants it to go away. I felt like she was really caring, so it's funny that you looked at it like that. See,
I did still think that I thought she was coming from, like, a loving place. I just didn't like that she said that because I was like,
yes.
your friend's going through a lot. Like, we also have to imagine if we were her. I don't know. If I was Ariana, I would definitely be like, yep, I'm leaving it in there. And, this is a weird shared space at this time. So it's
Mhm.
not going to look how it will in my next spot? Again,
Yeah.
transit space. That's what I call it. Like, we're in transit. So,
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought it was nice though, the way the way Brock comes and supports and helps,
yes,
and
agreed.
they were
Yep.
like, "We're here for you,"
I
and
will say that I do feel a teamship, team.
what shift?
I said teamship.
What were you trying to say?
I feel like they're a good team. I feel like they actually support each other
Oh,
and they show
yes.
up as a team. And would that be the word teamship? Or there's a lot of teamwork within their relationship?
Oh, I didn't know what you were trying to say. Yeah, there is a lot of teamwork, I think, in their
Like,
relationship.
that
It's
was
it's
nice. Like, how many husbands do you know go and help their wife's friend?
I know. I don't know if people realize that he's good. I do know people who do that. We're lucky to know a lot of good,
I feel like there, like, of course,
but
there's people out there like that, but I just feel like for that specifically, there's
I know
far and
plenty
few
who wouldn't.
between. Right, right.
Yeah.
More wouldn't than would.
Yeah. Okay, so Ariana walks up to Brock and Sheena and says, and I love the way she says it, she's like whispering and looking at them. She's like, so Logan was at TomTom earlier, and he, meaning Tom, said he's now having second thoughts and he might want to sell the house, which is what I wanted to do from the fucking beginning. And the
Mm.
house could have been sold in fucking March, and could have been fucking out of here. What did you think? Were you like, she was fucking right the whole time?
Literally, yes. I was like, "Wow." So, the entire time that all of this has been going on, it could have been just as simple as, "Can't we just sell it and move on?" And it's like
Like,
all of the fans were like, "Come on, like, if this doesn't make sense." Like, everyone. It did not make sense to anyone, and there's a reason it didn't make sense because one of the parties was being, I think, stubborn.
yes, and it was all put on her, and everybody's thinking it's her. even me, I'm like, "All right." Not the petty thing, but I'm like, I do not fully understand why she's not moving quite as quickly, but yeah, she knew. She knew the whole time what he was going to do and that he wouldn't be able to afford it. I mean, he gifts, we know he gives, but he gifts frivolously with, like, money he doesn't have, I feel.
Yes,
And then
agreed.
that thing came out about the bartender at the party. I don't know if we never saw this on the podcast, I don't think, but there's a bartender at the sexy singles party who came out on TikTok saying that Sandoval never paid her.
Yes, I did see that video, and I was like, "Wow, that kinda tracks." He makes Anne to pick up his dirty underwear, he's not paying people, yeah.
And I think he probably has intentions to, but he just does everything so, like, frivolously and without thinking that he didn't pay her. Hopefully, he paid her now. I think I tried to message her on TikTok. I'll see if I have a response, but
Yeah, for next episode, I was gonna say check back for an update.
yeah, I'll check back for an update, but the point is, he doesn't have the money he thinks he has. I mean, we have to remember he took money from his mom, so he's gifting people all this money, but the truth is, like, he's too easy with it, you know what I mean? Like,
Right,
he's
like, it's
gifting it and
different.
not really thinking about it,
Yeah, and
I
it's
feel.
different to be, like, shirt off your back type of person, but it's not that's not the case here. He's going out of his way to make purchases with funds that he just doesn't have.
Right. So Ariana says in her confessional, being right is hard sometimes, especially when it's always the case.
Yes, I love
Like,
that.
yeah, yeah, girl, you're right.
But also, I mean, this is somebody who was with him for 10 years. You really learn another person's psyche, their behavior.
Oh, yeah.
So I just the whole time I felt like, okay, there has to be a reason why she's standing strong on not moving out.
Yeah. And then there's Lala like ripping apart, even though there's that reason.
Yeah,
And then she says, apparently he's also going through it over that podcast. So I guess he's upstairs. Did you know? I guess he had been upstairs. Like, why else is she whispering it?
that's what I was thinking too. I was like, okay, he has to be on site because she's whispering, she's being very like hush hush about it.
Yeah. So she says he's going through it because of the podcast. And Scheana says he didn't know it was 3 parts either. And they're kind of like so happy about it. Like, I feel like their fingers are doing that like
Yep,
maniacal type thing.
yep.
And Brock's like, "Oh, we got 4 parts dropping too. It's called part 4. How do you like them apples?" And Ariana's like, "Part 6."
Yes. And
So
also
fun.
Sheena and Ariana shared like a very cute little moment where they kind of looked at each other like, is this bitch for real? Is she really
Mm,
doing this?
yeah, yeah. So this is the part where I'm like, it's nice to see them together, and I feel like Sheena is good with Ariana alone, but then it's like when she's with Lala, it's different, and
Yes.
we've talked about this. But why is that the case, you
Like, it's
know?
okay, so I've always wondered this too because, when you're at work, you behave a certain way. When you're with your friends, you behave a certain way. When you're at the grocery store, you behave a certain way, right? But it's like when you have friendships with people, I do think there's different parts of you that maybe come out or get highlighted, whatever the case is. But I feel like it's a dramatic switch.
It's a dramatic switch. No, it is. It's a very dramatic switch. I feel like she looks more comfortable when she's talking to Lala about this shit. But maybe because it's a hard thing to talk about? I don't know. Or is it just because she doesn't agree? Like, I just feel like she looks nervous, uncomfortable when she's talking to Lala about it.
Yes, but I also think that's because she knows that Lala is going to respond in a certain way or has her own
Mm,
feelings about it. So maybe she
mhm.
is a little bit more on edge.
Yeah, she seems like sorry, I keep drinking water.
Mhm.
She seems more natural
Yes.
with Ariana. Like, I feel like it seems more real, but yeah, so it could be just what they're saying. Or I'm just wondering, like, friendship wise, is she actually really natural with Ariana? And Lala's thinking they're not. I have hiccups, by the way. It's gonna be annoying. I'm trying to suppress them. Um, I keep wanting Hubs to get hiccups on here because he has the craziest hiccups. Like, they sound
I was gonna say, is it like a funny hiccup sound?
yeah, because you know what's weird? The first time I heard him hiccup, I don't know why, was not until I was pregnant, and that was, like, how many years after? Like, 14 years after we were together. So, I was in a store and pregnant, and he makes this noise. I'm like, "What the heck was that?" He's like, "A hiccup." Like, I've never heard you hiccup in my life, and I get hiccups a lot. And then he did it again. I'm like, What's going on?" And he's like, "I'm just hungry." And I'm like, "I didn't know you get hungry hiccups." And so he I was pregnant, I almost peed myself laughing because his hiccups were, like, so feminine. Like,
Wait.
they were so great, like and I always pee every time he does it, like, I cry laughing and I try to record him, and then, of course, as soon as I start recording, it
The
stops.
hiccups
He
go
almost
away.
wants it to be recorded because he thinks they're funny too, because 'cause they're just so ridiculous, yeah. Alright, anyway,
Instead of hungry hippo, it's hungry hiccups.
hungry hiccups. Okay, so mine, like, I can shove down more where he can't. Um, then they cut to Scheana singing her song, and she says she's gonna post the lyrics video also, and they get, like, excited that she's gonna post the lyrics on YouTube. So, that song, we find out later, really upset Sandoval. I
Oh,
wish
yeah.
I could have seen Rachel's
Me
reaction
too.
to the song, what
Yep.
she would have done with that. And then we already talked about them trying to help Ariana clean up the house and touching, his gross things on
Yeah.
the table. I mean, I understand why she doesn't wanna touch it. I did wanna say, I don't know if we said this earlier or not. By the way, if you're hearing this now, we, like, cut the recording in half. We had to record on 2 nights, so we literally just restarted it now in the middle of this Brock, Sheena, and Ariana scene. I don't know, it doesn't bother me so much seeing it. Like, I hate when people are like, "Oh, she's lazy, she's this, what." She's obviously not lazy.
That's my
Sandoval
biggest
is calling her
trigger.
lazy. She's not lazy. The girl does so much shit. It's just that those things fall to the wayside, but look at how much else she's doing. That's not a lazy person. So,
Right, but yeah, no,
okay,
it's
so
just, like, so frustrating when people just see a snapshot and they're like, "Oh, they're lazy." How about they're doing 1,000 different things? Sorry that they're not putting the water bottles away. They didn't really like, they're prioritizing other things, you know? It doesn't mean that they're lazy.
yeah, and there's the most rich people do have housemaids or, people helping them to clean their house. There's people cooking, there's people doing those things. So, I don't know. I mean, she's as busy as she's probably more busy than somebody who's rich and does one movie every couple of years, but just makes a ton of money. You know what I mean?
Right, and,
She's
like, good
doing more
point
daily.
good point, though, with the, like, help and stuff, like, getting help
Yeah.
around the house, like, absolutely, on so many different reality TV shows, their houses are spotless, and we never see them cleaning.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that's because they have help coming in," you know?
Yeah. Right. So now we have the Sandoval and James scene. I mean, best scene of the night, best scene of the season to me.
Yeah,
But
that was, like, mic drop, no pun intended.
so first of all, that song, freaking,
No, just no.
I hate that song.
I don't okay, and I'm being so respectful, I truly and I'm somebody who thoroughly enjoys music. I don't understand. I'm being so nice. It doesn't sound pleasant.
No, and I think that was like his song to Raquel too, so it like rubs me the wrong way even more. I just wish he would stop with that. I wish he would stop that song completely. It's a very unpleasant song, I agree. Unpleasant's a good word.
I mean, I meant his singing in general, but yes,
Oh, his singing, yes, his
that song
singing.
and I'm being respectful, like, with the most, like, utmost respect, like, it just it feels and sounds like he's always singing off key to me.
Yeah, he is singing off key
It
much of
just
the time.
doesn't feel right, and it yeah. I'm like, stick to your 9 to 5, you know?
That whole Superstars thing too, like, reminds me of Molly Shannon, like, I just can't take it seriously. Do you
Right.
know Molly Shannon and
Yes.
SNL? Superstar.
Yep. Yes.
Um,
Yes!
you know that one.
That
See, that was the same time period as Will Ferrell and
but
Sherry O'Terry.
I always watched SNL with my parents. Always. That was, like, our thing.
No, but that was the same time period, that's what I'm saying, that's when I watched it with my parents, I didn't watch it on my own.
As
I
the
watched
whale thing, though, but that was a movie.
what?
Are you talking about the whale scene?
I'm talking about Sherry O'Terry no, not Sherry O'Terry, Molly Shannon, Superstar.
No, no, but are you saying, like, the time period with, like, the whale comment that I didn't know about?
The time period with Will Ferrell and no, that was Anchorman,
Yeah, because I was like,
the
"That's
whale
different."
comment.
The SNL we always watch, but the movies, not so much.
No, Molly Shannon was on SNL the same time as Will Ferrell and Sherry O'Terry, it was, like, the best cast, and that's when they would do taco, burrito, what's
Yes!
going on with speedo? You didn't know that when I said that the one
Yes!
podcast.
Okay, wait, yes, I do know that. That I know.
Oh, that was the one thing I had gr
The song just reminded me. Sing that again?
oh,
The
taco, burrito,
Yes.
what's coming out of your speedo?
Yes. Okay,
What? I think
for
it's what?
some
It's
reason, maybe I just did not remember it that night.
Oh, yeah, the
But
cheerleaders.
the superstar, yes, because my dad used to sell those costumes at his store.
Oh, right, that
That
because
is
then they made a
so
movie,
funny.
Superstar.
Yes,
Yeah, which I wish they made today, they should make a movie with Will Ferrell and Sherry O'Terry doing the Spartan cheerleaders, that
they
would be good.
should. That would be a great throwback, like, reminiscent.
Oh god, they really should do that. It'd be so funny. Okay. Anyway, so James talks to Sandoval after Sandoval performs, and James just looks miserable. And he tells us, like the camera, the in confessional, that parts of him feels bad for Tom because he knows what he's gone through as well. And that's where you see like James is empathetic.
I think so, yeah, he definitely is emotional.
I mean, the fact that he can even say he feels bad for him, you know, and
Right.
consider how he's
After
I'm sure
everything.
Allie's helping with that, though. Allie's definitely
I think that Allie is absolutely facilitating some empathetic behaviors for sure, yeah.
but it's kind of like Jax too, where Jax acts like a total crazy person, but then he also, like, does have feelings for people. They just, like, have so much, like, hostility and energy on the outside that it, like, detracts from anything softer, I guess, on the inside. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I also feel like maybe sometimes they don't know how to communicate their feelings. Like, they
Yeah.
do have those feelings, they're coming from a good place, but maybe they just don't know how to, like, formulate that. And even, like, James walking in, he's got hippie. He seems like he's in the type of zone of, like, he came in peace. I don't think he came in, like, "I wanna get into a fight with Sandoval." I think that he was looking forward to having that conversation, and maybe
Mhm.
Sandoval took it in the sense I think Sandoval took it in the wrong way. Because I did you feel like he walked in, like, guns a-blazing? Because I didn't.
No, I didn't. I feel like he wanted to get a point across, though, and that just Sandoval did not even wanna hear that. He
Right,
just
but
wanted
that's
to
what's so frustrating because it's like, Sandoval, you have to be open to your friends that you're trying to become friends with again, to their reactions to certain things after all of this.
Yeah, he's, like, never open to anything. He's never open.
Yeah, I just feel like he's always on defense, and I don't understand why.
I don't know, I think maybe, like, the whole like, we were talking about the whole Kyle Chan thing. Kyle Chan talks really calmly, and I talked about it with you or my husband, I don't remember, how in the classroom, when I'm teaching my students, my energy is super calm. So it's, like, very it's hard to explain it. I literally just feel in my body, I take my energy down, and I'm like, "Okay, so first we're gonna do this, then we're gonna do that." First we say this, like it's very, very calm, even though I'm speaking loud and clear for them, versus
Or a little bit more maybe bam, boom, in your face.
yeah, or more yeah, or when I was younger, I had teachers that would yell and it would like make me frantic. So I really wanted to be a calm
And, like,
presence.
foster that, like, safe space for your students, which is super important.
Yeah, but I just mean with people in general, people feed off of energy, and he, I think, is like or like an animal, even like a dog, like, if you're, like, wild, "Come on, come on, come on," the dog gets, like, hyped up, right? So,
Yep.
Sandoval, unfortunately, almost cannot behave around anything that's not super calm and seeming like they're coming at him in any way. He doesn't really know how to respond once anything gets even slightly elevated. He loses his shit
Yep.
and then he goes in defense mode and he attacks or he deflects or whatever it is. But when you're talking to somebody like Kyle Chan or Schwartz a lot of the time too, because Schwartz can be more calm, but Kyle Chan, he's a very calming presence and person, and then he'll, like, stop, and he absorbs and he listens rather than just, like, speaking out. So, I think that's something, obviously, Sandoval needs to work on. You need to be able to talk to different types of personalities, and people
Agreed.
are not
That's
you're 40 how old? 42 years old? 41, I can't remember now how old he is. He's
yeah.
turning 42.
He's, like, 41
He
forever.
yeah, he is going to need to learn this skill at his age because you can't just act like a fool whenever somebody has something to say that you don't like,
Or whenever
okay?
somebody disagrees with you, like, you don't have to become defensive. I also
Yeah.
feel that he is the type of person that doesn't listen to understand, he listens to respond. Like, he just always has to have a retort ready to go.
Yeah, he does.
Just going back to Kyle Chan really quick, I think Kyle Chan, just listening recently to Kristen's podcast, like, his disposition is 10 out of 10 to have a productive conversation.
Mhm.
I
Yeah, for
really
sure.
hope that Tom can kind of adopt some of Kyle Chan's communication skills.
Yeah, I know. We said I can't remember, it was, like, one of my posts where I had written something like Sandoval should pay Kyle Chan to be his PR or something,
That's a good
and
idea.
Kyle responded saying, like, "I can't do that, then people would say that" I can't remember, we were like, basically saying, like, "No," because then everybody would say he just pays Kyle Chan to be around him,
Oh, that's true because, yeah,
you
everybody
know?
says that he pays for all of his friends. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, mhm. Plus Kyle Chan doesn't need the money.
True.
He doesn't need he doesn't need another job. Okay, so anyway, Sandoval says about Rachel, they talk about the podcast, and he says, "She used me, and then she threw me away."
I
And
yeah,
James
I'm sorry, eye roll right there. She
Yeah,
used me and then threw me away. What about Ariana?
right. Okay, so let's talk about that. So, yes, what about Ariana?
Like, I just don't get it. I feel like he
Mm.
literally has amnesia when it comes to his 10-year relationship with Ariana.
Yeah, he does. He's so like my husband said, like, it's like a horse with, like, the blinders on too.
Yep.
It's like he's only seeing himself and his feelings and all of that, and, like, he doesn't realize how his words can be used against him with Ariana, It doesn't make any sense. But I will say, I always thought she did use him and James, and I think that even more now. So, I will say, even though I hate this and it's ridiculous and hysterical that he uses it and says it, in a way, I totally agree that I think, was just wanting to be with him for the fame. That's what I think. And I'm
Okay,
gonna talk
so
more later in the news portion about that. I know you're not gonna get to do with us, but about why I think that. But I
so
do think she used him,
I
and I think
think
she used
that
James.
I think she definitely used James, and I do think that she fell in love with Tom.
She says she did it, and guess what? Guess what? We're finding out now. She just said on her podcast, okay, her recent podcast, since we record this in between, that she was dating someone when she was hooking up with Tom. And then he called her a sociopath for doing that, which is, again, rich, hysterical,
Coming
that
from
you're mad
yeah.
at her for dating somebody when you're fucking cheating on your girlfriend of 10 years. But it is I mean, if you loved him, would you be going on dates and hooking up with other people? And her whole thing about him grooming her. If he groomed her and isolated her, how would she be able to go out on dates with other men?
Right. That doesn't
That's
make
what I
sense.
wanna know. And more than dates from the way it's been sounding.
Yeah.
So, how does that make any sense? And we're gonna delve more into that, like I said, in the news, but
But he's like
you're s
contradiction que I almost just said queen. He's like contradiction king, though.
Yeah,
That also makes me wonder if he even realizes how he's, like, contradicting himself in ways. So it's just like it becomes very isolated in the sense of, like, "Tom, where is your head at?"
right. It'll be interesting, like they said, if this lawsuit goes through and there's discovery and they have to go through their cell phones.
Yeah.
It's
Oh my gosh.
gonna be
Oh
real
my god.
interesting to see the the back and forth, because we saw the back and forth with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp.
I know, I was just thinking about that, and I was glued. I was glued to the TV for that.
I can't imagine she's gonna wanna go through with this shit. But the fact that also she is still hooking up with other men, but used it with Ariana, like, "I was in love with him, like, this is what happened, I was in love with him." So you're telling me that you said you were in love with him, and that's why you couldn't help yourself and do this. But now we're finding out you were also hooking up with other guys while you were with Sandoval, and you still did this to your friend Ari? It wasn't even love?
Right?
What the
What?
fuck?
My
That's the thing.
I'm squeezing my hands together because it just is yeah, I'm just like, "Why? No, this doesn't make sense."
There's a lot of people here and there that keep saying, like, things are gonna come out, things are gonna come out. Is more about this gonna come out? That's what I wanna know. Because
Um,
I'm
imagine she was, like, having an affair with, like, someone else that nobody's known about while she was with Sandoval.
I mean, I think people knew about her hooking up with people while she was with Sandoval.
Oh,
Oh, you mean like a full like
no,
another,
I
like,
mean,
love
like
affair?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, what if
Another
she
full-blown love
yeah.
affair.
Like,
I
what
don't
if
know.
she did it with somebody who wasn't as famous?
I don't know. I just know that I don't believe anything she says. She goes back and forth. My husband's like, "Wait." He's like, "Now she's saying this happened?" I'm like, "Yeah,
Right.
there's more. But wait, there's more."
No,
She's like one of those infomercials,
yes,
like
I'm just
every
thinking
time
that.
there's
I
a
was
podcast. But wait, there's more. You too. Like,
for
can do
$12.99, you
this.
can get 2 of these, literally.
Oh, it's maddening. And then the whole like victimization of her, the victimization of both of them. You are not victims. Sandoval and Rachel, you are not the victims. Ariana's the victim. You two are the perpetrators. So stop playing the victim. It doesn't make yourself look better. Just say you fucked up, you're sorry, and it's that. That's it.
And
Move the fudge
we
on.
would all move on then.
But I don't think she wants to move on. She
I
wouldn't wanna
don't
move
think
on.
so
If she
either.
wanted to move on, would she be posting videos of the and by
Correct.
the way, on her latest podcast too, when she's like, "I posted those videos because I can't stand to see things that are said about me that are fake or wrong." But then the video she posted proved what was said on the show. They didn't say anything new on the show. What they said on the show was exactly what you were posting on on the
Correct.
podcast, and you made a video showing their clean and what you said, and they were exactly the same.
And also just to say, if she wanted to be over it, she wouldn't be doing the podcast in the way that she is.
Right.
That just doesn't track.
Oy, okay, so Sandoval then says so James does defend her here because at this point again, they don't even know what's going on. And I think James is defending Rachel more because he's like just wanting to stick it to Sandoval more too. But he's like, she's working on herself. That's why, which was good. I thought that was good that she said that because again, at that point, that's what we feel like. And I still would like to believe she was working on herself in some way, but I don't know. And Sandoval says she's selfish. And she said, this is big. She said, when she asked you to stop drinking, she did it with the thought that you wouldn't be able to do it. So Sandoval tells James this. She said, when she asked you to stop drinking, she did it with the thought that you wouldn't be able to do it. And that was a freaking speculation that many of us had. Or maybe it was just me and I felt like many of us had. I did a video on it. It was a pretty big video where I was like, I don't know if she really even thought he would stop drinking. Did she just think like this is my way out? And that whole rage text thing that I felt like was a bigger thing. And by the way, she said on this podcast too, right? It was this one where she's like, James was like super jealous.
Yes.
And James was super jealous of her, but like, I don't know. I know
I
he
just
was cheating too, but where does that jealousy come from? Like, my husband was never super jealous of me. I was never super jealous of him. I know there's different personalities, but like, it has to come from, to me, it doesn't it have to come from somewhere? Well, I guess not. I guess there's people who are abusive, but it's not, it doesn't come from somewhere. But
I know, I'm just thinking, like, I don't know if it's, like, full jealousy, also, like, insecurities, like,
yeah.
I feel like she is such an anxious person.
But the thing that's so crazy is she made it seem so convincing on TV with the way she was staring at him. And she was like, James, you have to stop drinking. And then she tells Sandoval that that's why she did it with the intention that he wouldn't be able to do it. That's so fucked
Which is
up.
evil, like, just break up with that person.
Yes, just break the fuck up
Like,
with
don't
that
make if
person.
you okay, like, if you also feel like they do have a drinking issue, that's fine, but don't include that in the way of your way out.
Yeah,
Like, you could be like, "Hey, I've cared about you, but, like, this is why I do have to leave." Not, "Hey, if you go do this, I'll be with you."
right.
I understand some people have to do that as an ultimatum, and I do respect that, but in this situation, no, that wasn't the case, and I think that that was used as her way out.
I actually would really love to hear from Sandoval, which we can't. Because the thing is, no matter what Sandoval says, everyone thinks he's lying. And even though I know he's a liar about many things, I don't think he was lying about this. I think a lot of things he actually doesn't lie about. He just says it in such a stupid way that it seems like a lie. He lies in a way that he's a cheater, you know, but I don't think that
All I
he
can
would
think
lie.
about every time you say that is Sandoval's a liar, Sandoval's a
Oh,
liar. The Kennedy
Sandoval's a
song.
liar, Sandoval's a liar. Yeah. Yeah, he's a liar with that shit. But like it would be wild if he said this. By the way, I don't think she addressed this. You know what? I didn't hear that far along because I couldn't take it anymore. Did you listen to that
I
part?
didn't listen to the newest episode.
Oh, mother humper. Let
I
me go see.
I have never heard that.
You know, I don't know. I might have made it up a long time ago, like middle
I've
school or
heard of
something.
motherfucker, just never mother humper. That's funny.
Well, there was a large majority of my life that I didn't curse. So I would
Oh,
say like
gotcha. That makes sense.
even still during the day, I say like fudge, which a lot of people do. Okay, but I guess mother humper's not normal. Let me
No,
look
I
and
love it. I might adopt that now.
by the way, she said that this was a producer. Did you notice that? That was her PR girl,
Thank you.
Juliet.
Yes, I did
But
notice that.
but she didn't say that asking her the questions. Why did she leave that out? I
The
mean, I
only
know why
reason
she
I
left it
noticed
out.
that is because, she just said even when I was speaking with him and she had mentioned that she was the one kinda conversing with him while she was in there.
Did they try to pretend that it wasn't Juliet? I'm
I don't
confused.
know. Or is Juliet also one of her producers as a PR rep? I don't know.
Is Juliet one of her producers? Interesting. Very interesting. Let
Very,
me
very.
all right, let me go try to find that part and the Vanderpump. Thank God for Vanderpump recaps. I love her. Okay, what does it feel like? No, I don't care about this question. Okay, here it goes. There just shows how idiotic both of them are. It's very weird to watch and laughable, really. It really felt uncomfortable watching this entire episode, especially that scene. Hold on. I'm trying to find that one part instead. Oh, so they ignore this part. Huh. They ignore the big question. I should do a video that says, why did Rachel ignore this big point on Vanderpump Rules in her podcast? They don't say, they skip over this part. Interesting. Interessante. What? They ignored this part. That's crazy. I mean, it's not crazy, but I feel like if you were going to ignore this part, you shouldn't have done this episode because now you're just making it blatantly obvious, but that you ignored this part. That's nuts. I'm trying to make sure it wasn't like
Right.
yeah, no, they ignored it. So very interesting. They ignored this in Rachel's podcast. And it just shows you that I'm not gonna say probably true. I mean, he wouldn't say it. I don't think Sandoval would just make this up. That would be stupid. You're gonna make it up and put it out there and say it to Jane, you know? But this is where James fires back. He was like, she also said on the podcast that she was never in love with you and she got with you because she wasn't quite over me. So I wouldn't put too much thought into that one, buddy. So it definitely is a whose D is bigger contest,
See, okay,
right?
I don't know. I really didn't get that impression, honestly. I felt like that was him being, like, super emotional, saying, like, yeah, like, I feel like that's his
Oh,
way of sharing his feelings. Like, "Well, yeah, she said this about me too, but it wasn't true." Like, that's his way. I feel like he tries to make, like, humor to get over pain.
yeah.
I
Okay, you
didn't
weren't
see it
but
as,
he
like,
did leave
a
though, because he was super annoyed with him.
well,
You don't feel it.
yeah, also, do you think it was triggering to see Tom in a dipped out T-shirt?
Um, no, I think James just appreciates merch anyway.
Okay. That's true too, that is true too.
I think I personally don't think the dipped out is I mean, I think it's stupid and gross, but like, it didn't trigger me. Did it trigger you?
It triggered me. It triggered me because I'm like, "Wait a second. You're, like, wearing that, and that is related to the pain of Ariana. Where is your care for your past partner of 10 years?" That
Yeah.
was a part of
Uh-huh.
the whole lie, the whole affair.
Right. She dipped out.
So I just feel like it's such
I
a
dipped out.
throw like, for me, I took it as, "Wow, you really never cared about Ariana."
Oh, okay.
Like, they're after the fact, I mean.
I think that just because I consider him so stupid that him wearing that T-shirt didn't surprise me, but no, I understand your point 100%. So James says, "I don't think you guys were ever in love. I think it was just an F fest, fudge fest for 6 months." Fudge fest. And Santa was like, "You have no idea. We would talk for 6 hours." We talked for hours. And James was like, you will look me dead in the eyes for years talking about how much you love that girl. It's like, you forget, bro. It's crazy. So then James is defending Ariana, which loved the way
Right?
he defended Ariana. Because it's true. Like you said, he has like amnesia. Like, what is he doing? He's acting like he didn't care so much about Ariana just because it faded over time, they had difficulties. So let me ask you a question. This is important. Scheana is saying now, right? A little bit now. Love Scheana, but she is a little bit now aggravating me with this because she's saying, like, they weren't like as solid for a while. And it's not like she's using it directly as an excuse, but she's like indirectly saying it as an excuse. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, well, Scheana, you and Rock are having trouble right now on the show. We're going to see stuff coming up. Are you going to say that that is a reason for somebody to be able to have an affair? Like, would that make it any easier? No.
Mhm.
Every couple goes through issues.
Right.
If you have to go through issues in order to get out of issues, and it's about what you do in that relationship to get through them. Do you work together and figure it out and come out together on the other side? Or do you act like a Lisa Vanderpump would say, wussy pussy, and go cheat on someone and ruin your relationship that way? Or do you just decide this isn't working? It's not what we both want and we're done with it. You know what I mean? So having issues is not a reason to have an affair. I'm sorry. If
Correct.
you're having an affair, you can't deal with your shit appropriately.
Yeah, or
Go deal with
leave.
your shit.
Or leave. Have conversations with your partner. Try to figure it out with your partner. Maybe you guys need space or a break.
And I know like everybody has weaknesses, but if you care about somebody and you commit to be in a committed relationship with them where you're not with other people, then that's like the pact that you made and you should live by. But it is funny because James has cheated on Rachel. So it's like, again, the like you said last time, well, you said, what did you say? The kettle calling the pot black, but
Yeah.
the pot calling the kettle black. That's what it is a little bit. I'm getting the feeling now like James wouldn't be cheating on Allie,
Oh, I do
but
not think so.
right? Why do you think that is? You feel like he thinks it's just like a more mutually respectful relationship?
I think
Because
that I think that Allie is a very different type of person than has ever been in James' life.
Mm,
And I think that he is very in love with her differently than he has been. At least like, the impression I get when I'm watching is, oh, he is in love with her.
mhm. But I don't know. Again, it is still funny that James is bringing up the cheating with Sandoval when James also cheated. The whole thing is just like a bunch of people doing terrible things. That's all it is. And calling somebody out. Like Jax too. Jax coming after Sandoval so hard. Now there's a whole shit with Jax. People were saying adamantly Jax has not cheated on Brittany. However, just the past day, there's the news that there was a post on Reddit that said they're in Canada at the Pangea event, or the boys they call them the boys, by the way,
Yep.
Sandoval, Jackson, James,
Which I do
not,
think is
not
so funny
James.
because they're literal grown men.
Sandoval, Jackson, Schwartz, the grown men. Did you see the picture people made where they aged them and like redid the sign?
No. Oh
It
my
was
god.
kind of
I didn't
funny.
see that.
They did like an age sign of them. But the boys were there for this event that they're paid for at Pangea. Jax and his publicist went there early to Toronto. And it's Toronto, right? Or is it Montreal?
Montreal, yeah.
Montreal. And Schwartz was at Watch What Happens Live in New York. So everybody's like, why isn't Lori, the publicist, with Schwartz at Watch What Happens Live in New York? I don't want to give Lori any kind of bad name. She always seems to be a good publicist, but it is a little strange. She didn't go to Watch What Happens Live with Schwartz in New York, but she went with Jax alone to this event in Montreal. So then there's a post on Reddit saying that I'm here at a restaurant and Jax and his publicist just went and banged in the bathroom. So this goes up, okay?
Yeah.
It's first, let me make this very clear. Again, this was just a blind, meaning we don't know who posted it because as quickly as this post went up, pun kind of intended, it was down. So it was up and it was taken down, okay? We don't know if this was true. I don't want to believe it's true, but this is what was said and it's all over everywhere. It's a little funny because we know Jax to be a bathroom banger from Vanderpump Rules, from Laura Lee, whoever. But what's next?
Then Brittany unfollowed both Jax and Lori on Instagram.
Okay.
So
That's a weird thing.
that's weird to me. That's weird. It's like, why? Why was she triggered to unfollow Lori? It's one thing to unfollow Jax. That I can understand.
Yes.
Why?
Lori's her publicist
Lori's
also.
literally also her publicist, and don't quote me, it was either April 4th or April 7th, but she was there with Brittany for Watch What Happens Live.
Oh, she went to Watch Women's Live with Brittany?
Yeah, so
But then she didn't go with Schwartz.
that's what I mean. This is
But then she
weird.
went with Jax to Montreal,
Right.
getting poutine,
So
which wasn't meant to sound dirty, but
no,
they both work.
no,
Oh my
literally.
God.
Yeah, so
That's weird.
yeah, because that was only like 3 weeks ago.
Come on now. I didn't realize she went with
So
Brittany
now
to Watch What Happens Live.
people are posting, are we gonna get a like Sandoval 2.0?
Yo, honestly, I'm ready for that.
I know. We honestly need something like that.
No, I do wish it wasn't them though. Because here's the thing, I don't want that because of the family.
Right.
That beautiful baby and all that. But if Jax has been cheating, it needs to be fucking called out because he went again. So if he's cheating with his freaking publicist, who's also Britney's publicist, I mean, if they were smart, this wasn't happening and they're just stirring up shit for the show. Fine with me. I believe that they're separated and all that. I just mean this whole Lori Jax part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I definitely don't think that
No, the
the
whole thing is
separation
fake.
yeah.
No, and not at all.
But also, I don't know, do you think Brittany would play into it like that?
I don't
I
I
don't think she would.
maybe she'll just be like, I was like Lala and I just was following too many people. So I got rid of two. I don't know. She blocked Jax. I don't know if she blocked Lori. It says that no, I don't think so because it says Lori is still following her, I believe, but Jax is not following her. And people are like, well, it's not that Jax isn't following her. If she blocked Jax, he can't follow her. So
Wait, say
she
that
can now
again?
make the screening blocked by Jax also.
Wait.
I mean, no, blocked by Brit. She should go make blocked by Brit.
That's actually yeah, that is a good one, actually. Wait, so did she block him or she's just not following him? Or we can't know if she blocked him.
We don't know.
We can't know if somebody, like, blocks someone, right? Just to stay
No.
on
Well, actually, we can know because I don't think their comments will be seen on their page anymore.
Oh, that's a good point.
Mhm.
That's another little Instagram hack. Okay, cool.
Again, I want to know who looks at these things, who looks at the followers and the following, because I never look at that. Like,
Me neither. I
how many
know.
times do you have to do that? I'm just
But
so
also,
curious.
I feel like the people on Reddit, which, we appreciate, can definitely bring us tea. I feel like they probably are scanning.
Oh, yeah, they're little
Or
detectives in
just,
there.
like,
They need
checking in, you know what I mean? Like, instead of a
the
wellness check, like a
FBI.
following check.
Yeah, the FBI needs to hire those people, I swear to God. They need
Yeah.
to find out, like, who's the best at that shit and just hire them.
Mhm.
Okay. So, anyway, this got really off track, but the whole point is that they're all a bunch of cheaters. God, if Jax is cheating with his publicist, I won't be able that's just, like, so crazy. That would be
Yeah, my mind
so
would be
crazy.
blown. Only because, it's not necessarily that they're friends, right, with Lori, because it's like a working relationship.
No, they are friends. As Brittany keeps saying, she's like I think she's like, "She's one of our best friends," like, on one of their
Ooh,
podcasts.
see, that I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm like,
we're
well
really close to Lori. We've known her forever. We're always together. So, like, if that's the case, that's worse than
no, then that really
Raquel.
is worse then, yeah.
It's worse than Raquel, almost. No, it is worse than Raquel because you have children. There are children involved. And yes, it does take it up a level when there are children. Like we've said, it doesn't make the pain any easier, but it does
No, but
take
that
it
totally
up
elevates
a
the
level.
experience, yeah. Also, low key, I'm like, is Jax, like, jealous of Sandoval and he, like, needed the spotlight on his new show coming out and, like, he's just, like,
Well, they're
going through his
saying
own
though,
thing?
but they're saying if this was happening with Lori, then it's probably been going on for a long
Right,
time
which is even
because
worse.
even worse, because like, and Brittany, I mean, could Jackson really gone that hard after Sandoval and been doing that the whole I can't imagine that. I hope this is wrong. Before I said I hope it's wrong, I didn't really mean that. I mean, like, if he's cheating and then him cheating with her makes it more salacious. But truthfully, I hope this is not real because I don't want him to be a cheater again.
I
I
know.
know people won't agree with that, but like, I just don't want him to be a cheater again.
No, I really thought he changed. Like, truly, I was like, "Yes." Like, there is hope for people to, like, actually outgrow behaviors, you know?
I was listening to old podcasts, and I was listening 'cause doing all this work trying to find out what Rachel has said in the past, and it was very interesting. But Jax was on one of them, and he was talking about it's from 2022, and he was a little drunk, and he was like, "I love my family so much," and it's like, "I never thought I would be this person who, like, just has, like, a son and a wife. I never even wanted these things, and then everything changed," and it was interesting that he kept saying he didn't ever want those things. I didn't know that about him, but he's like, "Everything changed, and now, I have the best life," and I'm like,
Right,
"Man,
see? That's
stop opening restaurants and
right.
bars."
No, seriously, they should do a study on, like well, I guess it's like anytime you open a business with, like, your wife or your husband, but I am curious, restaurant business specifically, I
Yeah.
feel like there are a lot of relationship fails when it's related to a restaurant opening.
Yeah, I mean, we have family members and friends with restaurants, and, they're all good, but
It's
yeah,
stressful,
we
right?
talked about
Like
this in LA or in a major city if it's a little but yeah, it's a lot of work. They're good, but it's a lot of work, like, they don't come home, they're working really all the time. It's hard. A lot of jobs you work, all the time. It's hard. You're physically there a lot of the time,
right.
alright, so, anyway, James, thank you for sticking up for Ariana. You did a great job there.
Seriously,
It
like,
was
kudos.
nice to have him do that. I wish he had done that on the beach, like, in
Same,
front of
yes.
maybe he realized after she said it when she was like, "You guys should be the ones,"
Mhm.
he doesn't listen to women. I wish he had done that, but that was good. He does say it's so funny because Sandoval's telling him to shut up, and James is, like, saying he's moving on to bigger and better things, and James says Sandoval's gonna be, like, 75 at the Rock and Roll Bar in Sunset doing karaoke, banging out hold on,
Wait, I literally
bang
pictured that though, I picture him with, like, grays.
he's like, bangs out with he's like, "Boom, the dick flute comes out of the pocket." I used to play this on national television.
Yes, no, that is so true.
And I know you were picturing it, right? I'm like, "Yeah, I could see that
No, I
too."
really could see that, and also, like, don't forget, Tom is now eating his own words because I don't remember
I
what
know.
season it was in, when he was like, "It's not like you have a Vegas residency, James."
Yeah.
Well, guess what? He does now.
Yeah, and then even here, he says, "Go push some buttons on your laptop." And he's friggin' playing at Coachella, to Taylor Swift's song, Taylor Swift's
Was
watching.
vibing out, right.
Vibing. Crazy. That's crazy.
So, yeah, I mean, he probably Sandoval, I think, is realizing that, okay, James is actually elevating his career, and I'm still singing cover songs.
Yeah, and paying the band, and I know some people do this, but I really do I know he likes doing it. I wish he would think of, like, a better use of his money. I mean, I guess he plays events. Oh, I do have some tea. I guess I'll have to say it now, guys. I'm
Yeah,
gonna say it right now because M's not gonna be for the news, and I wanna say it with you here.
yes.
I found out something exciting, and I cannot say it much, but I will say this, guys, and you are going to love it, okay?
Mhm.
Well,
Mhm.
you're gonna love it if you're like us. Sandoval will be on something very big soon that many of us will be excited to see how it goes down.
Oh my god.
So I
Oh my
cannot
god.
say what, but I was so excited. I was so excited. And I'm waiting for like they'll announce people and then I could say more. But guys, we're gonna have another good thing to talk about. But
Oh, I'm
also,
so excited. I have a few different, like, ideas of what that
your
could
pop
be.
if you wanna think of, like, the main one you'd want it to be, that's what it is.
But for me, it's confusing because he's with somebody right now, so it can't be that one.
Oh, what are you thinking of? It's definitely not something like that. What are you
I
thinking?
was
What were
thinking
you
of,
thinking?
is he gonna be the next, like, Bachelor or something next year?
Oh my god, no, 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 no,
That
no, not
would
that.
be a trip
No.
to watch.
No, 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 no. No, no. Something more fun to watch. Well, okay, if he was a bachelor, everybody would hate it. But okay, so let me just say it. Let me think about how I can say it. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Mhm.
And this sucks because I know, like, in a way, I'm like, do I say this to them yet? And like not be able to say it, but like,
No, but
and then
you're
that
excited
sucks.
about it, so I'm
But
excited
I
about
want to
it.
say it because I even just finding out the possibility, that we might be seeing something soon excites me, you know what I mean? And then when
Right.
I found out what it was a whole other level. But even just knowing, because some people didn't watch him on Special Forces. Personally, I love watching any of them on shit. Like, I just find it so
Oh,
interesting. I
yeah,
loved
because
watching
they're out
Schwartz
of their,
on.
like, typical environment, which we usually see them in, so yeah, and
Yes,
it's so
yes.
interesting. I love, like, seeing, okay, I mean, I did think though that, yeah, he was obviously sad, but I felt like he acted the same way that we see him on Vanderpump.
Um,
I just felt like he was going through it, so he was more like emo,
are you talking about, sorry, Sandoval or Schwartz?
Sandoval.
Yes. No, he did. He was, like, so weird. Yeah, he did. He acted the same, but sadder,
Yeah, he was just,
and
like, in his emo vibe
yeah.
because of everything that had
Mhm.
happened.
Yeah, he acts the same. That's what's, like, so interesting about him doing, like, any of these things, because you see other people around him. Okay, so that was it, but I'll just say it'll be very easy for us to talk about it on here because we both really enjoy it.
I'm
Okay.
so excited. I cannot
Okay.
wait.
All right, guys. I hope some people know what I'm talking about. All right.
Yeah, but you know
So
things go over my head, so I'm sure if, like, there's listeners that are gonna know right away, I'm gonna be late to the party.
I feel like it makes sense for him. That's another thing I'll say. Like, it's something that makes sense for him as a character.
Okay. No, you're giving great clues. I'm just missing it. You are giving good clues, I feel like.
Okay. All right. So here we go. Let's get back on track. Anyway,
Like, I'm like Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil. Boy, I am really giving bad clues. You think it's gonna be a Dr. Phil?
No, I'm just saying
We
because
don't even talk about Dr. Phil.
like, his character, I'm like, "Oh, maybe, like, Dr. Phil will
No, I
really get
mean his
the bottom of it."
no, what I mean is, like, what he's known to be.
Oh, okay, that's helpful. That's actually more helpful.
Do you have no clue?
I have no fucking idea.
All right, we'll cut this out. You really don't know what I'm talking
Is it
about?
American Idol? Like, what is he going on?
No, listen. It's a show that we've talked about on here that we
Besides
love.
Special Forces, besides oh my god. Is it, oh my god.
I can't say.
Okay, 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 okay. Oh my god. That's perfect. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Do you see where my head is, though? Does that tell you about my brain and how it works?
Yeah, I still can't think of how you got to Dr. Phil, though. I cannot. I can't track that one.
I don't know, I just could see Dr.
I
Phil being
cannot
like,
track the
"I have to
Dr.
talk to
Phil.
this man."
I also can't track the Bachelor one. Do you?
Well, because okay, I was like you said it was like, a big show or whatever, and I'm just like, "Oh,
Well,
okay."
I
Like
didn't say show. I didn't say show, but yeah.
okay, I kinda just assumed show, I guess, and I was like, "Well, he's with Victoria, he's not single," but, like,
Oh my
I
god, it's
feel like if he was on The
hysterical.
Bachelor, the ratings would be insane because people would
N
want to see him and how he maybe is with women.
Yeah, no, you know who I want on The Bachelor again? I want Peter on The Bachelor again.
Wonder that would be oh my gosh, that actually would be a great bachelor.
I think I have, like, a little thing for Peter
I think you do too.
after seeing him, like, take charge of that shit. I was like, "Yeah, go back on The
If
Bachelor." I wanna see
I
him again.
ever had the opportunity to go on The Bachelor, if Peter was a bachelor, I would absolutely dress up as a pirate for my walk-up scene.
No, not Peter from Sir.
Oh my god. Peter Pan? Peter who?
I'm just I can't. This
Peter who? I thought you were talking about Peter from Sir.
Peter from The Bachelor.
Oh my god. Never mind. Just never mind.
No, I could see why you thought Peter from Sir. That would make more sense. I could see that. Forget it. I'm crying.
No,
Alright.
literally though. Okay, then my pirate analogy doesn't
No,
make
I
sense. Oh,
understand. You were thinking because we were talking about no, if I had to pick somebody from Vanderpump to be on it, I would pick Schwartz, I think. Would you?
oh yeah, that would oh my god, the nation would, like, probably fall in love. Yes, I could totally
What do
see
you
that.
what do you think Katie about Sophia? Katie was so funny on an interview recently. She was so cute. What was it? It was she was on the freaking 2 T's, but not with the 2 T's. It was Emily and
Yeah,
and
yep.
Teddy. The what's it called
I
again?
only just saw a no, I thought it was 2 T's in a pod, is it not?
Yeah, but it's
Like
called something else. It's like it's like the subcategory. But anyway, she was on there and they were like, "Well, what do you think of?" the fact that Schwartz is dating now she's 24, I think, 24-year-old. And she was very polite, and she's like, she's like they're like, "She's young," and she's like, "She's a young gal." She was trying to be so, um,
Like, respectful kind of towards it.
respectful about it, yeah. And she was saying that she's not, like, an ageist, but she said before, she said, "The younger ones are for, like, a good time, they're not for, like, a partner."
Right, I feel like
Anyway.
that's her way of being, like, very respectful. Also, you asked me what's my opinion about Sophia, and after listening to the podcast, the Vile Files, my opinion did change a little bit because I thought that they just kinda met out at, like, a random bar. I did not know that she was aware that DJ James Kennedy was gonna be at SUR. So I was like, "Oh, so you kind of, like, knew about the cast and everything." And, like
Yeah, she said she sought him out, yeah.
yeah, I was like, "Oh, okay." So you kind of like I don't know. I wish that they kind of just met organically instead of, like, her being a fan of the show.
Yeah, but if you think about it, if you were ever with Schwartz, you would have to be like, "I have a podcast about you."
Oh my god, no, yeah, duh. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just
Yeah, no,
okay.
I know. I didn't think that either. I was surprised she openly in a way, I respected that she openly
Same,
admitted
same.
that.
I did also respect it, but I was just like, well, now it's kind of given because I also feel that, like, Rachel was a fan of the show.
Yes.
So it's giving, like, okay. And I
Yeah.
thought they weren't like, not that she's, like, a groupie per se, but it's just like, don't they make it a big deal to not date fans?
Yeah, I think that's why he said he wasn't, like, going for it at first, and she kind of had to, keep trying.
Yeah.
But, it's interesting because I put up the clip of her. He talked really kindly about Sophia. He was really, like, saying these nice things about her. But then at the end, Nick was like, he said something about the movie Serendipity, and he was like, "Katie loves Serendipity." He's
I
like, "I love
know.
Serendipity."
He
And I'm like,
always
and I just, I don't know, obviously. I don't think Sophia is going to be his person forever. Um,
I don't think so either. I think that this is maybe like, I wish them well. I think that they have
yeah.
a really beautiful relationship. I just see it as a season of life, kind of.
Yes, yeah, like Katie said on the podcast too with Teddy and Emily, she's like, I was so different between 24 to 27 even, and then 27 to 30. I'm like, "Me too." Like,
Oh my god,
there you
same.
grow a
Ugh.
lot,
I feel like
you
from
change.
27 to 30, like, was a full 10-year change, even though it was just 3 years for me.
Mhm, and then you'll see, like, 30 to, like, 34, totally like, it's very different, it's very different, so, anyway, we really went off track,
I was gonna say we digressed.
digressed a lot. Okay, so but we did get some good information in there, and I hope people are not annoyed with me giving that teaser. Um, I hope some people were
I
like,
think a lot more people are gonna get it than I did.
Okay, okay. And I can't say because then I would be an asshole because I'm not supposed to. But I did say, "Can I tease it? I gotta tease it."
No, that was a great tease. You gave awesome
Okay.
clues, again.
Okay. So now, Lala's sperm donor party. Pin the sperm on the vagina. Yeah, how did you like her party? You thought
I
it was
thought it
nice,
was so
right?
I really did think it was so sweet. I was like, "Wait, I love this. This is so uplifting." I feel like, for women that are watching the show that are like, "I kind of have been thinking about wanting to do it." Look, this is a great positive, uplifting twist on doing it, in quotes, alone, but she has her whole pod with her, as she likes to call it, you know?
Yeah.
What did you think about, them being able to, like, put their votes in? Like, for option number 1, option number 2, option number 3. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, I did think it was cool because I feel like she just wanted her, like she said, like the love and support of the people around her to help her.
Make that decision, yeah.
Yeah, she obviously went down to those 3 people. I think she knew who would be. I think if they picked somebody different from Lala, knowing Lala, she'd be like, "Nah, this is who I'm going with." But
Right.
I think it was clear that it was number 1, especially with the ocean and lion
I
thing.
know, I know.
So, that was nice. I mean, I thought the whole party was different and nice and sweet.
I always like when Lisa attends events like that because I feel like instead of her running one, she's now a participant, and I feel
Yeah.
like she's just cute to watch in those scenes.
Yeah, and I love Lisa on Are you watching Vanderpump Villa?
Yes, I love Vanderpump Villa.
Yeah, I really like it too. We left in the middle of an episode last night. Those people are crazy.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
But Lisa's funny on there too. I love Lisa. I think she's very funny and she's so witty. Ariana's reaction at this party to Lala was so sweet and sad because she was so excited, her smile and her giddiness, and she was like freaking out for her. And it made me feel so bad that Lala is coming after her so much, or,
Same.
like, trying to, or maybe if some people aren't viewing it as coming after her, Lala is just, I don't know, just putting a lot on Ariana and making her answer to so much that I don't think she needs to be answering to. When Ariana looks to be, like, so supportive as a friend and so sweet, it's so hard to
It
watch.
is really hard to watch. And also, like, I don't know, Lala, did you ever think like, wow, like my friend's coming here to support me? She just went through an affair last year where she was doing stuff with her eggs, It's like, I don't know. I also thought about that too.
Oh, that's an excellent point. Oh, that's an excellent
Oh,
point.
I love that.
Pun intended
I love
there.
that. I love that.
Oh my
You know
god,
what
how
I
about when
mean?
Jax what did Jax say in the Valley when he was like, "Pun not intended." Actually, pun intended, but it wasn't even a pun, it wasn't I don't remember what it was,
I
but
remember
it
that
wasn't even
scene
a pun.
because I was
Oh
like, oh my God, I feel like I sound like that sometimes when I'm giving my like metaphors.
oh my god, no, it was so freaking funny. We watched it like 3 times, and now I don't remember what it was. But that is a really good point, an excellent point that she did wow. She was going through that with her eggs, and she's not even able to say, "You went through this."
You know what I
I
mean?
can
That's heavy. And she's still showing up to support you. And you are just in your soft girl era, except not towards her.
Oh, that's so true, and that's so sad to think about that she couldn't have, like, considered that in this.
I might
That's
make a
so
video
sad.
about that, honestly.
Yeah, please make a
Just
video,
like
and
a
we should
little
use this as a
opinion.
clip for the podcast too.
Yeah, because I don't know. That was that was one of the first things I thought about was like, oh, like that's kind of sad. Not sad, but like I wonder if that like crossed her mind.
Mhm. And Ariana, again, I don't know if you guys missed another podcast where we talked about it. I said that she was on the backup plan. Her friend Meredith is having a baby with her gay best friend. And Ariana was on that and was saying how basically she fears childbirth and kind of like pregnancy and all of that. But it seemed like Ariana she doesn't even like flat out say it, but you could just tell that she's more open to possibly having children if she can have them maybe in a way that's better for her, or if she has the right partner for her to do that, like she said before. But definitely listen to that podcast because, again, I don't even want to like summarize her words on something as important as this. So I do recommend listening. But anyway, I thought that's such a really good point. I never thought of that, and that's true. Allie brings up to Katie. She says to her, "It sounded like you were just a little miserable and getting upset about a lot of things really easily." And Katie's like, "Who said that? Like, did Lala say that?" And Allie says, by the way, she also says, "I think it's pretty clear you're not miserable." However, Allie was the one to use the word miserable, and this comes back later on when they're talking
Yes.
about it.
Yeah. But that was just like I don't okay, first off, I do not think Allie said that on purpose. I literally think she forgot like the verbatim of it. And she was just kind of paraphrasing the conversation.
I did find it weird that Allie was, like, seemingly agreeing with both people in both situations. I don't know if it's because she's empathetic that she just, like, feels what a person is saying in the moment and was, like, nodding and acknowledging when she was talking to Lala and Scheana about Katie, and then when she was talking to Katie, she was, like, nodding and acknowledging that, "Yeah, that's not true." I thought it was a little weird that she was, like, kind of agreeing with both, but I'm not sure if it's just, like, her empathetic heart being like, "I feel what you're saying right now, and this is how I'm responding to it." I think that's how the girls view her. They don't seem to get, like, very angry at her, although we'll talk about it later. Lala does snap at her a little bit about it.
I thought that was a pretty light snap, by the way, from Lala.
Yeah, because I think it's hard to be mad at Allie, probably.
Because obviously her intentions can be felt. I feel like Lala would have
Yeah,
went so much harder.
I agree. Katie's upset, obviously, that Lala's not just, like, saying things to her face, and I think she's absolutely right, like
Right, come on, at this point, Lala, why are you not just telling me that? If, again, we were that good of friends, why can't you just come to me and say, "Hey, this is how you're making me feel?"
it was hard, again, to see Katie upset again. Like, she's always having people, like, disappoint
I
her,
feel like she's
I
always
feel.
having to defend herself too.
Yeah. I wish I could be Katie's friend, like, I wish I lived near her. Alright.
Okay, so then we have Sandoval and Schwartz. Schwartz goes over to Sandoval's and they're just having like a quick little kiki. And Sandoval kind of, I feel like is probing Schwartz to see if he could maybe take him on as a roommate, have him move in with him. And this was interesting because I felt like, Sandoval makes a comment to Schwartz like, bro, like we could do it, we could live together. And then Schwartz is like, yeah, like, how much? And Sandoval's like 6K. And Schwartz is like, yeah, okay. Like, I'm at 4 or 5 right now. But the other thing is, I'm like, Sandoval, you don't have a good track record with taking out loans. And he said that to Schwartz. He was like, yeah, we can take out a loan. Schwartz's eyes looked like he saw a ghost. Like, bro, are you for real?
No, he's nuts. He's
Also,
nuts.
like, bro, don't you think $1,500 of an increase is like a lot more to pay? Like, I just saw that as like if it was like if it was 5K, that's only $500 more. That I could see as like, okay, like maybe that could be swung.
Yeah. No, this is the whole situation. First of all, when Sandoval started talking, Schwartz right away was like, "Don't even say it, dude. I can't." And that's when he says somebody would make dolls, and Sandoval's like, "They already did
Oh
that
my
about
god,
the
the
voodoo
voodoo
dolls."
doll comment,
Yeah,
the
which
voodoo
I
doll.
think it was Ether. I always say the name wrong, and I love her, so I hate that I'm going to say her name wrong. Ether and Opal, is that how you say her name, or Ether and Opal?
Oh, I
On
would say ether, yeah.
on Instagram and TikTok, she makes like the Barbie videos, and apparently she
They're
made a
so
voodoo
good.
doll of Sandoval.
They're so good. That creator is pure genius. Like one of
Yes.
my favorite accounts.
She's really good. She was really sad recently because Schwartz blocked her, and I was like, why did he block you?"
Oh my god, there's
And
so
she's
much humor. That's like light, fun humor.
no, because she said something about, like, him being, like, I think, like, making fun of the age difference between Sophia and Schwartz, and he blocked her. I'm
Yeah,
like,
but they
"Wow." So
have to
Schwartz
be open to receiving, like, little jabs like that with humor because it's like, come on. That is
Yeah,
the most I feel like that's gonna be the most targeted thing of their relationship is the age gap, you know?
yeah, mhm. No, I
Also,
think Schwartz
Schwartz
is
used
not
the
taking
word optics again. He was like, "Think about the optics, man." I think I'm gonna start tallying how many times that's said.
he honestly, the whole time we're like, Schwartz is like, "Are you fucking nuts? Because you're nuts." And I did see, like, behind the scenes footage, I remember last summer, I did see them checking out a house together, by the way. So they do I don't know if they're gonna show it on the show, they do check out some places together. Together, together. So, like, yes, that would be horrible. It would be Dumb and Dumber, and
It would be yes.
it would be so bad, and Schwartz says, like, they'll look like 2 nincompoops, and he knows. Schwartz is aware. He knows they're gonna look like
Correct.
2 nincompoops.
Yep.
No, he doesn't wanna live with you. This is a terrible idea. I pray to God he stands by this is what you know what? Stay with Sophia as long as you can so that you don't move in with
Yep.
Sandoval, because that would be the
That's
worst decision.
and he knows that. I also think this, like, really highlights the shift in their friendship.
Yes, it does. They do have major shifts, like we said last time, and somebody was like, "That's not true. They're together in Canada. They're doing a work event in Canada." No, it is true. There is a shift in their friendship. They're friends, of course, blah, blah, they love each other,
Yeah, but
but
that's like
Schwartz is
saying, like, "Oh, Brittany and Jax are still together." Like, they do a podcast together. Work is work as work.
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, for if Brittany and Jax can be separated and do a podcast together and not seem at all like they're separated pretty much for much of that, these 2 could do an event where they get paid well in
Yep.
Canada and get to go on a trip to Canada. Um, again, they're friends. I'm not saying they're not friends. I'm just saying it's clear that Schwartz keeps his distance and that Schwartz gets upset about things and they have issues with the restaurant and all of that, and that's still ongoing. I have heard that that is still an ongoing thing. I wanted to say this too. Somebody asked me a good question in my comments yesterday, and I responded back like a pretty long response. And I said, if I'm saying I heard something on the podcast, I will only say it if I really believe it to be true based off of who I'm hearing it from. And I don't say things that I don't know. Like, I'm not like one of those
You're
people
not
who will
just saying it
be
just to say it. We're not over here trying to start rumors.
yes, exactly. So, all right. So those 2 nincompoops hopefully are not going to live together. We're just going to take a quick break and give a shout out to Draw Me Bitch, the person who did our podcast artwork, who is amazing. Please check her out on Instagram and on TikTok. She also has her website, shopmebitch.com, where you can buy coloring books, stickers, gifts for all things Bravo. But she now has a subscription on her page, which gets you access to weekly Vanderpump coloring pages. Definitely go check her out. You will not regret it. And I also would like to give a shout out to our friend Peyton. She is Glorified Gossip Girl on Instagram. Right now, her account is down because of weird rules that don't make sense. So please go follow her backup at Glorified Gossip Girl, but with a U for the girl. And she also is Glorified Vintage Girl. She does amazing work. A lot of Bravo Lebs wear her and order from her, including Ariana Madix, Danielle Rivera, Katie Maloney. Go check her out and support her. Her website is on her IG page, or it's www.distressedout.myshopify.com. She is a super hard worker. She's great at what she does, and she's an amazing person as well. So 2 fabulous girls to check out. And now back to the pod. And then we have Allie and James's house.
A very sentimental, sweet conversation, maybe a little difficult conversation with Allie and James, which I thought was very cool because I thought it was a real honest conversation that relationships absolutely should have
Yeah.
before advancing in their, next steps, before an engagement, things like that. And I thought Allie was very vulnerable and she opened up and she kind of just laid it out there like, I've never been the type of girl that, has had a Pinterest board with like, this is what I want my wedding to look like. And, I want to be a mom. And I was very thankful because I can relate to that on different levels. And I was like, yes, yes. Like, not all, young women are just like, I want to get married, I want to have babies, and that's it. Like, not everyone's like that.
This would be so off. That's great that you can speak to this because I thought it was so interesting hearing her because I mean, I always wanted to get married, but I didn't have like the boys about marriage, but I did like being a mother was since I was a baby myself, like I wanted to be a mom. And that was like my goal in life was just to be a mom. So, or my dream in life was just to be a mom. So I would love to hear your perception of that and like you're speaking from that perspective because I think a lot of people can't. I think the majority of people can't relate to that, and I love
Correct.
to
No, that is
know.
so true because I'm always the oddball out, always. And it's just the simple fact that I never ideated that stuff. I always ideated like different things, like what would my career look like? Where would I be traveling? I didn't
Mm,
ever ideate being pregnant or being a mom or even really getting married. It was always just like, I can't wait to find someone that I really vibe with and can live life with. And it kind of like the thought just ended there. I always looked at things like I wanted to have multiple careers and have those be my babies, if that makes sense. And that's
mm,
kind of how I try to like
yeah.
explain it to people. But when I was younger, I could always get away with it when women would be like, and I say women specifically because I would never even entertain a man asking me why I don't want to have kids. But women like would be like, wait, but like, why not? Like you have the ability to. And I'm just like, oh, I'm young, and they'd be like, oh, okay. But now that I've gotten older, I really get like the different looks. It looks like they look at me like I have snakes coming out of my head. And I'm like, hey, I know myself so well to a point where I also know my limits. And that is a part of the conversation as well. Mental health.
Mhm.
I would
Mm.
need to absolutely make sure that I was aligned with it in so many ways. I don't wanna just be like, "Oh, yeah, like, it's something I've thought about, I wanna do it, I'm gonna do it." Like, I really wanna feel it, and I just have never felt it, and people, will be like, "Oh, you'll get that feeling. You're young, you'll get that." And I'm like, "Alright, now I'm 30. I still don't have that, like, feeling
Yeah.
that people have
Mhm.
told me I would have, but I've also, like, developed a little bit later and stuff too, so who knows? I'm not denying maybe that
Right.
could happen, but for me, I was always like, I want multiple careers, and that's what I would like to do with my life, just always be busy with that.
Yeah. No, I appreciate hearing that. I love hearing how
You
you look
know
at
I, like,
things
work with
differently.
kids, I love kids, and I love
You love
spending it has
kids.
nothing and that's, like, another thing too, people will just assume, like, "Oh, you don't like kids," and I'm like, "You're so wrong, I have way more love for kids, I think, than I do adults," like,
Right.
not the case, and I also feel like I am a mother in certain ways within my career that I'm fulfilled in that way, and then I
Mhm.
get to, you know, go do my own thing after,
And you have your pets that you love so much,
and
you know?
I do see them as my children.
Yeah. Mhm.
That for me
And
are those like, I've ideated having a bunch of animals and being, animal mom.
and that's kind of like maybe even like with Ariana too, with saying like, "I'm gonna keep these eggs here on reserve if I ever change my mind or whatever." And you know what? Actually, you I think many people don't ever change their mind. That's how they are, and that's how they'll always be. Like you said, and maybe some people just develop those feelings later. Like Schwartz said, his biological clock is ticking. Um, my friend who is actually also a teacher, she used to so she's my age, and she would put a post even about how much it was frustrating for her for people to say like, "When are you gonna have a kid?" Because she's like, "I don't want kids. Not every woman wants to have children." And she
Right.
would
And it's so
post this a
true.
lot. But then this year, guess what? She had a baby.
Oh my gosh. See, so again, I am not
I was
denying.
shocked, and she was, like, so excited. I guess she planned it, but I was shocked, you
I
know?
definitely do follow quite a few like child-free accounts because it helps me to feel less alone because we are the minority in this society, you know?
Yeah,
And
mhm.
it's always just kind of like you said, like forced in a way, like, "Oh, like, we're
Mhm.
gonna have kids," and it's like, "But what if I just really genuinely don't want to?" And
Right.
I'm not and listen, if that sounds selfish, that's okay, and the one thing that kills me the most is, "Oh, so you're just gonna, like, be alone then when you're older, you're gonna have no one to take care of you." And my perspective, my response to
Mm.
that is,
Oh, God.
I hear what you're saying, but actually, my babies are all my careers. I'm gonna be very well taken care of. I've already thought of that.
Yeah, but also that bothers me when people say that because I don't think you should be looking I've heard this before too. You should not be looking at your children
Thank
as
you.
just people to take care of you,
Thank
and
you.
that really
I just
is, like,
never feel
wild to
comfortable to
me.
say that back to them because 'cause I'm not trying to get into a conversation about how twisted I think that is for and I'm not even a parent, you know what I mean?
Oh,
But
no, that's I've heard people say they want multiple children so that they have mul and I'm like, "What?"
no, literally, and I've talked with my parents about that too, and my parents have, like, never once been like, "You need to take care of us." Like, my
No.
parents have always been parents, which is they take care of me and my sister, you know?
Right. Mhm.
So I guess I
Yeah.
just don't have that same mentality because my parents have never said that. I
Yeah.
didn't.
Not that we wouldn't, you know you're gonna be taking care of our parents, and I know I'm gonna be taking care of
1,000%.
my
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
yes.
but, like, we wouldn't expect that of our
That's
children.
what my
Yeah.
mom always said.
Yeah.
"I would never, ever place that on you. That is not your
No.
responsibility." And I'm like, "I know, but I'm still going to." But it's just like
Yeah.
that's also really nice that I came from an environment where that wasn't forced on me or pushed on me. And also, my
Yeah.
parents never pushed having a baby on me, ever. My mom
Yeah.
has never been like, "Oh, when am I gonna get a grandbaby?"
Right.
So I've just never felt that pressure. I'm like, live your life, Em. Just live your life.
Yeah. Mhm. We're all different. We're all different. Okay. James, it was interesting though that Allie was saying she's not ready and kind of like she doesn't know if she ever really wants this. James was getting emotional
Yes.
and he says there are things he always wants and waited for his whole life. And he's afraid. I felt so bad. He's afraid to find out this whole relationship was BS and it didn't mean anything anyway. The love chapter for me has never been what I thought it was going to be when I was younger. I just felt that was so sad.
Also, okay, hear
And
me out. In our society, like, wouldn't you assume Allie to be more like that than James? Like, I felt like James was like, "Wait, but I've always wanted," like, I don't know. I'm just not used to hearing men kind of say that.
yeah, I mean, and she's a little younger than he is. Yeah, it was nice to hear him
Like,
say
I
that
was
it
like thankful he opened up like that. I thought he was vulnerable in that moment.
yeah, he was vulnerable. I'm a little concerned. I hope that
I know because that's such a breaking point, right, for relationships.
yeah. I was a little concerned that she was like, "Well, I never really saw that for myself because like he's like ready for that stuff and she's not." Um, I hope he doesn't get his heart broken again, but I can't say I'm not worried that he will. I don't I'm, like, just looking at him at how he is here, and I don't want him to be heartbroken again. It makes me so sad to think that he might go through that again. I
Well,
don't
who
think he
knows?
can
Maybe they'll come to,
handle
like,
the
a middle ground and they'll say, "Okay, like, we'll be open to it, just I need time."
yeah,
So we'll have to see. But I mean, I do think they have a really good relationship standing right now. And I'm happy that they had that conversation before getting engaged because I know a lot of couples that get engaged that don't have that conversation.
right. I agree, yeah. Okay, so now we have the brunch, and I always think of, for some reason, like, Beauty and the Beast because when I did a video on this, I used Be Our Guests
Oh,
when it
that is
was
so
like
funny. Okay.
And like Ariana wears yellow and Katie looks freaking gorgeous
So
in that.
beautiful. This is
Oh
like
my
her
God.
I'm loving her this season. The bi girl in me is like, "Katie, hit me up." Like, she is yeah.
And it's funny because she usually wears dark colors, so, like, to see her wear that cream color,
Mhm.
it looks so beautiful on her skin. I
Yep.
kind of thought about how did she wear that because Lala was just calling her miserable and she wanted to, like, be, like, lighter.
Oh, wait, that's
Um
so funny. Okay.
but it was very just, like, ethereal. She just looks so
Oh, I
pretty.
love that word to describe it, yeah.
This was an interesting brunch. Obviously, Schwartz is there, Dad bod Ken, they're all there. Sandoval walks in looking like 19,
Stop.
89 mom who's coming home from work 6 o'clock at night and she's got her sneakers on instead of she took off her pumps and now she's wearing her sneakers and walking into the restaurant. There was a Zara woman suit that he was wearing. I've seen this before online.
Oh, that's so funny you
Um
say Zara. I say Zara.
Oh, did you say Zara?
I
What do
love
I
that
say?
store, by the way.
Yeah, that's a good store. Wait, let me think about what I say. Yeah, I say Zara. Zara Kids is really good too, by the way. Parents out
What?
there, their quality is great.
I was gonna say, I just love their clothes, they last, and they're, like, cute, fashionable.
Yeah. H&M quality clothes is good also, and they're cheap. Okay, the girls sit down, and this is where Lala challenges what Ali said, and Katie is, like, nervous and upset, and you can see this, and Katie says to Lala, when Lala's defending herself, that her softness isn't necessarily going to the right people.
So,
And
like no, I was so sad, Ro, I was so sad. I feel like Katie is so vulnerable with her feelings in her friendships, and she's like, "You're hurting me. Like, I'm hurt."
Yeah. Such an interesting dynamic between them because Lala's like they both seem hurt. Lala's like, "You and I were inseparable last year, and you" okay, so this is where she contradicts you. Let's talk about this. This is what she said. "You and I were inseparable last year. You and Ariana are very close now. I don't know where my place is." And this is where Ariana holds her by the way, Ariana is chowing down on that food, and it's hysterical. I keep seeing people post this. I loved it.
Well, because she was holding her hand, but was still making sure she was eating.
She's like, "This is good shit," and she was eating, and, like, that's why she's my girl, like, she's just eating, and she's like, "I'm gonna talk to you, I'm not gonna have to look pretty on camera, I'm gonna eat this shit because it's good fried food right in front of me." But, yeah, she holds her hand out to her, and she's like, "Oh," and holds her hand out to Lala because she could understand how Lala's feeling in that moment, which is so sweet. I just thought it was so sweet. Another time I felt bad for Ariana and Katie. I just felt so bad for them. But Lala is having a moment where she's saying that she feels like, she and Katie were inseparable. But then Katie, and Ariana also says, "Can we have a night where we all lie in one big bed and do nothing?" But this is important because I think people understood this wrong. Katie says, "So don't feel like I don't have time for you. That makes me feel sad." And Sheena's like, "Lala just needs somebody checking in on her a little bit more. Like she knows her as a friend and that's what she needs." And Katie says she does it all the time. She texts her, she calls her, and the reason we're not close is because you don't have a single moment to hang. And Katie says it goes both ways and that she
Yes.
would love to have Lala as a close friend in her life always, but it goes both ways. It's an effort, not an obligation. And then Lala says this. "Everything you're saying is correct. I don't take a lot of time to be with you, but I need you to know I love you for exactly the person you are. All I'm looking for is I want us to show up for each other. We've done it for many years. Let's just get back to that." So you're saying that you don't have time for her, but before that, you were saying she doesn't have time for you. But what is it? It seemed like what it really is Lala doesn't have time for Katie. It's just that's what it seems like more to actually be because Lala admits to that. And Katie's like, "That's not true," like on her end. And she says she texts this is like that other scene back then where Lala said that Ariana doesn't reach out for her, and Ariana fucking pulled out the text messages and the never before seen and showed it to everybody.
Right.
So Coco Moco,
Love.
again, I always
I
say her
know.
name wrong.
Christina's account.
Christina, and I hate getting it wrong because I know she hates that people get it wrong and I feel bad. It's Coca Macoca. She does these great compilation videos, which I used to do, and guys, they are so freaking time consuming. I had to stop doing them because TikTok doesn't let you do them anymore for the creativity fund that we're in, that like pays you, they disqualify you, and then it's this whole terrible thing, and they kicked me out of the program, but then they added me back into the program. But now that I'm back in again, I can't do these compilation videos again because they will disqualify me again. Anyway, she does these videos and they are so great. And this one shows a never before scene. You know how they have those episodes sometimes, and the scene shows Ariana after she's like making faces at Lala in season 9. It shows Ariana showing her text messages that she sent to Lala checking on her. And there's Lala saying she doesn't check on her. And she's like, here they are.
Also, season 9, they were gonna do, like, with the business investment with Randall, and they were like, "Yeah, no, we're not."
Wait, what?
Like, "The girls never have my back," or
Oh, and then
something.
they took out. Oh, yeah. So
It's like,
many times.
they probably needed that money at the time, and they chose their friendship with you instead, you know?
Yeah. Oh my God. So freaking true. So, like, she says Katie has amnesia. Lala, I think you really forget things. Like, she has like selective memory about things. I don't think she does it on purpose. I just think it happens with her. I think she just forgets things and like goes, thinks in a certain way and then like lets that take over and forgets everything else. And it's hard because then it makes other people look bad that shouldn't be looking bad, like Katie and Ariana.
Right.
And we want to say this too, like, I don't think either of us blindly defend these girls. Like, if they did something that I don't agree with, and we did that earlier in the season, like, not Katie, because I haven't found anything with Katie I don't agree with right now. But like with Ariana, if there's certain things that we don't agree with, we've said, I don't agree with her here, or maybe this. And I honestly think that Ariana probably in a lot of friendships doesn't talk to people as much as they would like them to talk to her. I think that that's true because there's too many people saying that for it to not be true. I just think it's something that she maybe hasn't realized and that she can work on, or maybe there's reasons that she's doing that. Who knows? She keeps a very close group. I just think that she's, careful with who she chooses to be friends. But I truly think here that this is Lala having selective memory about certain things and not being soft enough to her friends who need her right now. Maybe Lala. Oh, maybe Lala feels like I'm in a vulnerable stage in my life right now. I'm about to have a baby. I'm doing this sperm donor thing. I want people to be there for me. This is my time to have my moment. And Ariana had her moment last year. Katie never had her moment, unfortunately, because they completely brushed over it with the whole Sandoval thing.
Yep.
But I mean, she had her wedding though and all that. But maybe Lala's like, I want this year to be about you guys being there for
Also,
me.
maybe Lala, I'm just thinking because you're saying that, maybe Lala feels a certain type of way because she, like, wasn't able to discuss everything that was going on in her life,
Hmm.
but this she can.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I could see
Yes.
that.
Did she think that maybe they would make her like more of the star of the season and doesn't feel like they are, so she's kind of making herself the star by inserting herself into all these situations?
Yeah, that makes the
Hmm.
most sense for me.
That does make some sense, doesn't it? All right, so let's finish the scene. Yeah, I don't know. It's sad, and they'd say like, "Can we go back to being the Spice Girls now?"
I know. That made me so sad.
That was what we wanted the whole season, guys. We wanted the Spice Girls.
But it's like the band broke up.
The band broke up. Okay, so next, Sandoval is trying to get Schwartz to look at properties with him. And Scheana starts coming over. And as she's coming over, he's in the middle of calling Ariana the enemy. And he sees this and he tells Schwartz, like, shh, 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 because Sheena's coming. And Scheana comes to tell them about her new song, Apples.
With good intention. She's excited. She just, she was also hurt by the affair and she's expressing herself in music as her way. And I totally understand that. And
I love that you're understanding of that.
I'm so understanding of that. Scandal pissed me off so badly. I turned to music. So I'm just like, I get it. It's an expressive outlet. It is. So
Yeah.
she comes over and she opens up and she's like, oh yeah, we just recorded my new song. And she starts telling Sandoval, hey, there's like little nods to this and that from, Scandival and Rachel and all of that. And he loses it. And I'm just like, dude, really? This is what you're losing it over?
No, because he says to her, like, it's about me or whatever. And then she says, open to interpretation. And Schwartz, and then she says the lyrics about the Ferrari or a Jetta. Thought that you knew better. And Schwartz is like, that could be anybody. And then they show in the confession it could be anybody except that Rachel drove a freaking Jetta. I just thought it was so funny. Like, she's coming up to him trying to bring this bad news to him that she's afraid to say to him. I don't think she was excited. I think she was just more like, just warning you. This is what's coming
Okay,
out
so
about
you
you.
saw it more as like a forewarning.
Yeah, I saw it more as like, hey, I just
Do you feel like she had to tell them and needed to tell them? Like, could she have just released
yeah.
it without?
Well, she didn't tell Rachel.
No, I know that's why I'm
So
saying, like, did she have to tell them though? Like, why does she have to? She's making music. It's a part of her life.
right, at least she told him.
Right. I was like, okay, kudos to you. Like, she actually looked him in the eyes and said the lyrics and what was going on.
Yeah, no, you're
Like, I
right.
respect that.
Yeah.
See, that's what
But
makes me feel like she is still trying to maintain a friendship with him.
yeah, of course. That Sandoval, you said, runs off.
No, he
Like,
literally ran off like a little kid. Like, he was
oh my
so pissed,
God.
like and it was just funny to see him, like, walk through TomTom, like, angrily, like, walk out. I was like, "Really? Like, this is what you're mad about?"
With his like 1997 like knapsack leaving,
Thank you.
storming off. He was just running in and out of people. It is funny, but okay, I will say I do agree with his point. He's like, you'd feel different if you went through what I went through, which okay, but you were you were the one who did that, and somebody was writing a song about you. It's true. Like if Sandoval had written, so my husband said he's like, what do you think Scheana would have done if Sandoval wrote a song about her? And I was like, yeah,
She
she'd
would've
cry.
Yeah, he would
She'd
have
talk
been
about it on her
very, very
podcast.
upset. So I guess my point of saying, like, did she need to tell him is because it's kinda like he was gonna find out anyway, right? Like, what's worse, having the person tell you or you finding out from a social media post? Cough,
Yeah.
cough, Lala unfollowing Katie and Ariana.
The funny part is, again, she's gonna be singing Apples at the finale party, and
God, I
I
cannot
saw the
wait.
behind the scenes footage of it. It's gonna be Sandoval and Ariana with Sandoval's friend Tyler in between them, and the two of them just on the side, like, watching Scheana perform Apples.
Yep.
It's just gonna be such a good moment. I'm, like, really looking forward to that. And then he leaves and he says, when he storms out, "Keep cashing in on my misery." Again, I agree, I agree. She's cashing in on your misery. It's not nice. I would not personally, I would not do that to a friend. I wouldn't do that. No matter I just wouldn't do that. But it's Scheana. It's Scheana Shay. She's Scheana Shaying, and I appreciate Scheana.
I do too. Again, I'm biased because I love a good, like I call it, like, parody pop when you, like, write stuff about stuff that's going on in your life, if that makes sense.
Oh, do you? A diss track? They call it diss track.
Yeah, like, like, I don't know, like, I definitely
Like
am
I
biased
diss
because
tea.
I love that stuff.
That's funny. Oh, man.
Also,
That was a good episode, though.
it was a really good episode.
I'm glad you got to join us for the recap this week.
No, I know, me too, I
And
loved this.
we were gonna have you. I'm gonna do a little bit of the news that I always add last minute before releasing this, and I'll probably do that with Hubs. I might do that by myself, but we'll be back, and then we'll say goodbye with you at the end of the episode.
Perfect.
Okay, so now we are back for our news portion. This is the latest news of the week. This is Monday night that we are recording, and I am here with
Hubs. I'm
Hubs.
ready to go.
Yes, but he told me he doesn't even know what I'm talking about, so we're gonna see how this goes. All right, now I watched on Saturday night the live of Joe, Saturday Night Live with Joe, but on Instagram, and I wanted to talk about that. Hubs did not watch it, but he saw I had recorded it, and then he saw clips of the
Couple clips,
recording,
yeah.
and I wanted to share some things about it. So first of all, that live was a wild ride. I never thought I would see something like that, I feel like, from anyone on any of these shows. And it was clear that Joe, is not a, TV show star. It was her and her friend. And during the live, they were taking some shots. So her behavior, I would say, was probably elevated because of that. I know there's so many clips going around, and I don't know if anybody's sharing that they were drinking. I think that people are sharing the same clips, so that information kind of doesn't get out there, and I thought it was an important part to share. In saying that, it is clear that this is the energy Joe has all the time because her friend did say that she has this energy all the time. Joe said some really, really inappropriate things during this podcast. There were many questions asked. A lot of the people in the live were actually like Joe supporters. But for instance, she said something like, she answered a question that said, hold on, let me just go to the video, it's easier. They asked if she had done like an intimate thing with Schwartz, specifically an intimate base 3. What base is that? Third base. It's the higher level third base.
Yeah.
Are you gonna answer because they can't hear you?
I was trying to remember what the bases were.
Oh.
Yeah, it's probably it's third base. It's the premium third base.
It's the what's it called? The higher level baseball called MLB. It's the MLB third base versus
like AAA third base.
Right. So, she said, "Yeah, of course I did." When they asked her if she had done that, and the girl was like, "Yeah, well, they were in a relationship," and she's like, "Yeah." And I don't know why Katie didn't like his D because the segs was great. So she is very descriptive. Then at another point, somebody says, no, again, she's answering these questions like, Joe, all you have to do is just not answer the questions. Like, you can decide what to answer and not answer. However, she did not make that choice. She did make that choice.
She's throwing a little too much out there.
I think that she I do think she made the choice to answer these specific Schwartz questions because she kept ignoring many other questions. Like one I was asking, I kept asking the same question like 10 times. Like if you look at the live video, you'll see my name pop up like 10 times, same questions, not answering them. At one point, I even tried to help her, and I never do this. I was like, do you want somebody to go on the live with you?
You asked to join.
Yes, because I felt like she needed guidance. Because it just seemed like she was off the rails.
It was all over. It almost seemed like it was like an SNL bit.
It absolutely seemed like an SNL bit.
An awkward SNL bit.
At one point, she grabbed her leg and put it, not one point, a couple of points, but the one in particular, she grabbed her leg after a weird part and put it behind your head. And it kind of reminded me of, which we talked about earlier in this podcast that you didn't hear yet, Superstar, like Molly Shannon. It was very wild.
That's funny.
It was Joe gone wild. But she also said, actually, I'm not going to get to the but yet. She also said, somebody was like, do you think Schwartz is, hold on, let me listen.
What do you think Schwartz is my other half? Yes, I do. But I think it's going to take some time.
She said, so I said, do you, it's funny watching it. Do you think Schwartz is my other half? And she said, yes, I do. But it's going to take some time. The other girl's like, you've always said that. And the other girl's like, in due time. And Joe's like, in due time. Then Joe brings up that these earrings are the earrings that Schwartz actually bought her. So she was like, these are from Schwartz actually. How crazy is that? And I'm like, well, it's not that crazy. You totally wore them on purpose, but okay. So
she's like just hanging on.
Hanging on for dear life with Schwartz, right? Yes.
But she says it with such confidence, like she knows it's just gonna happen. She's just waiting a little bit. Schwartz is doing his thing.
Yeah. No,
he'll come back.
He'll come back one day. It reminds me of when I was like a preteen and like my celebrity crush got a girlfriend, but I was like, it's okay. One day he'll leave her and he'll be with me. The Kyle Chan and Kristen interview, they talked a lot about the lying, and she actually was caught lying twice in here. Another creator and I, who is a very popular creator, she was like, did you catch that lie? I'm like, yes, I did. And did you catch this one? She was like, yep. So one person said, why did you go to the Tom's restaurant to watch the episode of Vanderpump with them when you knew Schwartz's girlfriend would be there? This was last week. So she went to the restaurant this is fact. She knew Schwartz's girlfriend would be there. It was a very awkward situation. I don't know why she would go to that. And this, guys, was the episode that Joe was the major player in. Okay, it was like
2 episodes ago, yeah.
The Joe episode. It was a big episode. And so what?
We're calling it the Joe episode?
I don't know why I did that. So they're watching this episode with Schwartz's girlfriend there. Very awkward. Shouldn't have been there. And actually, this week, she's going to try to go. Again.
Well, I mean, she makes a reservation, right?
So she made a reservation, right, for the last one. Anyway, Joe is...
Aren't there other restaurants in
No,
Nowhere?
so she wants to watch him with Schwartz. Okay,
Yeah.
she wants to be around Schwartz. It's clear if anybody wasn't sure if Schwartz was lying, now I think everybody is pretty clear. Okay, he has probably made it abundantly clear to her throughout this time, like his friends are claiming, that he was not wanting a relationship, and he was misleading, kind of leading on and all that. And I want to remind people, Joe says that Katie apologized to her at the reunion. Katie does not know the in and outs of what's going on with Schwartz because Katie is the ex-wife. I don't think Schwartz has told Katie everything that's happened with Joe. It's an awkward situation.
Oh, I'm sure he hasn't.
So it's not like Katie actually knows everything. You know what I mean? And I guess now she will. But anyway, there was something about this whole situation that I did want to share because it's not being shared. And I have not shared any of the clips personally. There was a part where she was really upset. Somebody had said, "Are you on something?" And she got really, really upset. And her reaction was genuine. And she looked at her friend, just straight at her friend. And she was like, "Why do people always say that?" And she's like, "Why do they always think I'm on something?" And she's like, this is not fair, guys. And she was very sad. And she ended up leaving the room, which, was a lot for a live to do. Again, it was wild. But she left the room and her friend was sitting there trying to explain. She's like, "This is just how she is. This is how she's always been, guys. This is her energy level." And she's her friend from home. So she's known her for a long time. I just felt so sad for her. And everybody was writing, "Joe, come back. Joe, it's okay. Joe, you're great. We love your energy." Because most people were super supportive of her in this live. So I wanted to share that because even though her energy is all over the place, it was super wild. The things that she said are not okay, very inappropriate. It's important to remember too, what Kyle Chan has said, which Schwartz is that she is a nice girl. I don't think, I'm not positive, but I don't think she's malicious. I think that everything she's doing is because she's not able to possibly, again, this is my opinion. I'm not a doctor, but I just feel like she's not able to regulate her feelings or her emotions or her actions. And this is why she's spoken about the ADHD. I think that everybody needs to show her grace in that area.
Yeah, I think it's wrong to assume that someone is on something.
Yeah.
If they're acting in that manner.
Right. It sucks, but I could see why people would think that because it is.
I could see why people would think that, and I'm sure she's probably had comments like that towards her for a portion of her life.
Yeah,
and it's probably a bit of a trigger for her.
It's come out that she has been kicked out of houses for when she was drinking, even Jax's house. And people, if you're kicked out of Jax's house, what the heck did you do? So I don't know if she's probably blocked by Jax. I didn't know if actually Joe's been blocking a lot of people. People keep telling me that Joe blocked them. So she's the new, it's blocked by Joe
blocked
now.
By Joe.
I don't know. I just wanted to share that because I do think again, inappropriate. I was upset that she said that about Schwartz. I feel like, how could you say that on a public platform? But I also feel so bad because of how impulsive she seems to be that now this is just out there forever. The video. When you put yourself out on an Instagram live or on a Facebook live or a TikTok live, anything can get recorded. And yeah, I don't know. I just
wasn't a good look.
No, I feel bad for her in that way. I feel for Schwartz too, because it seems like she is just not letting that go. And that's not really fair to him to have to be worried about this. And I kind of wish they would have some type of sit down with a mediator. I don't think that Schwartz can do this on his own. It seems like she needs somebody to help with facilitating this. Am I wrong in saying that?
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I think I'm guessing maybe Joe didn't get closure, and I don't know. Maybe that would help to talk it through with someone.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So anyway, I just want to say that I did feel for her during the live. It was a roller coaster watching it.
When someone in the comments, her friend kept trying to say stuff, and Joe would talk over her friend, and someone in the comments said, "Stop talking."
Oh, yeah.
And then she just kind of sat back on the couch, said, "All right, I'm not going to talk."
She had a little tantrum.
Little pouty.
Yeah, she was like, "I'm not going to talk to you." No,
Fine.
they don't want me to talk.
And she kept saying, "Fine, I'm not going to talk." No,
Yeah.
you talk.
Yeah.
That was
But like she shouldn't be looking at those comments. She has to learn to like filter out those types of comments.
comments are horrible. Yeah.
But when you put yourself on a reality TV show like this,
You
this
have to
is what
expect
you set
comments.
yourself up for, and you have to learn how to like sift it all out. You have to. But I do hope she's okay after that, because I feel like after seeing that, I'm sure she looks at it herself and is like, oh my gosh, like, what did I do? Oh my gosh, what did I do? So I just hope that she's like, you know, talking to people to help her deal with that, because I just feel like it's a lot that's out there right now. The other thing is Ariana was at the LA Times Festival this week, Festival of Books, and somebody from Reddit went on and gave a recap of it. So I wanted to share some of what they, Lucky Duckling, said. One point that Ariana talked about was, one, the fact that she didn't think she could do a book alone the first time, partly because she felt that way and partly because Sandoval added to that fear. And once Sandoval did what he did, made her realize how strong she was and she could do anything, including a book. So I love that. He's nodding his head. I love that she got that strength.
Oh yeah, I think that's fantastic.
Thanks. She thought the season went differently with the girls during filming, and watching it now, she said, I quote, I thought we were like the Spice Girls, yay, but no. That's sad. Exactly what we talked
She
about.
thought while they were filming?
She thought that they were going to be like the Spice Girls this season.
Before filming, yeah.
No, she thought while they were filming.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until watching it back, she saw how they were reacting to her.
Oh,
And like we
yeah.
talked about, guys, at the reunion, right? She's going to see stuff at the reunion.
Confessionals or clips that she wasn't in.
I told you.
Yeah.
I said I think they're going to show
No, I know.
the finale scenes. No, the finale. The finale when she left and they continued all talking about Ariana. I think
Yeah.
that's what they're going to show.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wanted to end it on the Spice Girls ones. I'm going to say the other ones in the next episode. There's just a few more. But the Spice Girls, just like what really got me, because she went into this thinking, yeah, I have my girls. They have my back. They're supporting me. And
Yeah,
then
and I think
surprise,
she felt
surprise.
that in a lot of scenes that we saw. I mean, even this past episode, really quick, when
Yeah,
they were
you're
all
right.
sitting down at the end, and Lala was sort of, making
Mm-hmm.
amends with Katie, and
Yeah.
Ariana had reached out to Lala to hold her hand, and they were like, "Oh, we're the group again, right? The Spice Girls."
They
right?
said this. She said the Spice Girls.
So
Ariana.
she'd said it in
yeah.
that, yeah. So it's like, depends on what scene you're watching to see like, are they connected like that, or is Lala and Scheana going off and saying stuff?
Yeah.
It's been a roller coaster.
It's okay. Anyway, that was it. And thank you. You might be doing the recap with me next week.
Always here when you need me.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Now back to close it out with M. Okay. So that is it. Our 12th episode of Down to Reality. Thank you again for listening. Please remember, make sure to follow us, review us, give us 5 stars. We'd appreciate that. The reviews, like we said, really help. Feedback, we love hearing it. Thank you guys again. We will talk to you later.
Talk to you later.